Nothing is more terrifying than surveillance footage of an event, especially one that ends human life. This video footage shows 3 suspects involved in a double life-taking in South Ogden, Utah. Surveillance footage surrounding the scene of the event captured 2 suspects peering through the home's windows and later a masked man fleeing the scene. All 3 suspects were wearing hard plastic masks. According to several news articles documenting the event, police believe the incident was not random, but targeted, and that the suspects were familiar with both the people in their home. South Ogden Police Chief Darren Park noted that while reports of a loud party had been made to police, he asked any witnesses to come forward and said in a statement that he hoped the families of the people will gain some closure. Multiple surveillance cameras caught the suspects scoping out the home. One suspect was wearing a mask, while the 2 others wore opaque plastic masks as they approached. One camera showed a suspect crouched down, watching the home for a while, after which the second suspect and later the third joined in. A second camera caught them peering into the home's windows. Following the event, one of the men was seen on a third camera hopping over a fence. As of the latest update found online, dated March 2019 by ABC4, the double life-taking remains unsolved. More has been pieced together of the night's events, including the fact that 3 of the Van Komen brothers lived in the home, while the unfortunate older neighbor, Kevin Nelson, had just dropped by when the event occurred. Once 2 of the Van Komen brothers left to pick up some food, leaving just one and one other roommate inside, the strangers seized the opportunity to enter. The brothers were gone for no more than 10 minutes, and when they returned, they found Kyle passed away on the floor. Van Komen's mother, Renee Finch, said of the footage, "I think that it's creepy that they're out there watching." Adding later, "We're very thankful we didn't lose all 3 of our boys that night." Nelson's nephew, Ralph Nelson Jr., also said of his uncle that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, a feeling echoed by Finch, who doesn't know why her son might be targeted. There was no clear motive for the double life-taking, which is likely why the trail remains cold today, despite over 70 people being questioned over the past 3 years. Unsolved mysteries are inherently terrifying, and the coldness of this case compounds that fear. This gray fish is frozen solid and obviously not moving at all. Yet within 20 seconds of being put in this liquid solution, something bizarre happens. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is nothing more than warm water, but maybe there's some sort of chemical in it that can bring frozen animals back to life. Then again, maybe this fish just hibernates for the winter and comes back to life naturally when the temperature warms. Let me know what you think is going on here, and if you think what you've seen is a miracle like the uploader of this video claims. The Art Man channel is full of various lighthearted adventures taken from all around the country, but there's one video from his stay in Carpinteria, California that's way different from the rest. Art is wading in the water when he sees the last thing any surfer wants to see, a pointy fin barely poking above the surface.
What? What the f? That's creepy.
Art watches in stunned silence as a sizable great white shark swims by the nose of his boat, less than 10 feet away. It's not full grown, but it's still large enough to make a meal out of one of his arms or legs if it so desires. Fortunately, the shark moves on without much hesitation, and Art makes a beeline to the shore. If this is a different kind of shark other than a great white, please let me know. That's what it says in the video's description and title, but I honestly can't tell for sure. This kid is making a random video in a dark room for no real reason at all, when he makes the mistake of looking down for a brief second to cough. A hunched over humanoid creature, who may or may not just be one of his friends, takes this opportunity to hit the ground of all fours and scramble after him. Even if this was one of his friends, maybe something bad happened to them to cause this transformation to take place, in which case, there is nothing fake about this video. These strange sounds in the sky have never been properly explained. I've found no less than 5 different incidents of the exact same grinding and humming metal on metal noise. Sometimes it comes from far away, like this one from Germany. And sometimes it echoes throughout the whole city, like this one from France. And sometimes it sounds like it's breaking directly overhead, like this one from Edmonton, Canada. But out of all of them, this recording from an unknown Spanish-speaking country is the clearest. These people are from around the world and obviously can't all know each other, yet each video is recorded between 2015 and 2016. I don't know if this is a warning, an experiment, or what, but I'm worried that one day we will find out. If the backstory to this video is real, then none of the friends you are looking at here are still alive. Their families gave police permission to release this video in hopes of solving what happened to them. At some point during their final car ride together, they go through a lonesome old tunnel in the middle of a private country road. They don't think much of it until they come across the same tunnel again, and then a third time. They're driving in a straight line and not a circle. Yet this creepy location keeps greeting them as if they never left. It only gets worse when the engine stops working. If you think this video is fake, then please take a moment and tell me how they were able to make it look like their car breaks down.
Just over here, I don't want to sit.
Anyway, not too long after their car stops working, a song skips on the radio and this figure heads straight their way. And when the car works, they go to reverse. You can see the figure immediately appears behind them in return. I think this last part looks like it could be an amateur horror movie, to be honest, but tell me if this part is editing or not, and then we'll know the real truth. This video was taken one summer on Vancouver Island in Canada. A YouTuber named Mushmasta is on a hike when he sees a huge humanoid creature that he still can't explain to this day over 10 years later. According to Mushmasta, the creature was 7 feet tall and stood on its hind legs
Jake as a transformer. That's the.
The lightning sounds so close I seriously wonder if it struck the side of their house. Either way, it takes the three of them over 30 seconds to compose themselves and carry on. JB records Paranormal Activity on TikTok when his car door opens by itself and an orb appears. The car door opens even wider and then you see a black orb fly past. It seems like it could be paranormal until you look at the trees blowing and realize the car door probably blew open because it was a windy day. The first orb was probably a lens flare coming off from the car door, and the second black orb looks like the shadow of a bird flying by. So well over 6,000 people are saying this is a scary video. I would agree unless you look a little more closely a second time. YouTubers Cazadores de Sombras investigate the spirit of the Old Maku in this scary video. While exploring the spirit's lair, they are startled by an unexplained sound.
Bateu na porta.
As they're investigating the matter, another noise is heard in the next room.
Oh, aí, mano, aí, ó. Quebrou aqui o vidro, aqui, ó. Quebrou o vidro. Tem outra janela de vidro aqui, não sei essa, mano.
But again, nothing. They then do some type of ritual involving dropping a chain in a well, presumably to call up the spirit, and the ritual is successful.
Orare pro me od detum nostrum.
O que é isso aí? Pode jogar?
Terminei. Oh!
Shortly after, the spirit shows itself.
Já deu certo.
Nossa, tá doendo muito, meu irmão, velho.
Oh!
O que é isso aí?
Que isso aí, mano? Oh, o que é isso aqui, velho? Sai daí, mano! Sai! Tá vindo atrás, vai!
Is this the Old Maku?
O que é isso aí?
Que isso aí, mano? Oh, o que é isso aqui, velho? Sai!
Whatever this spirit is, I'm pretty sure it's not friendly. Something unsettling is going on in this haunted house. Published by Mr. Horror in February of 2022, the scary video begins with this mysterious clacking noise. The room is empty and the floor looks like it's covered in dirt or sawdust, or as some in the comments suggest, flour. The clacking continues, followed by a large banging sound. Then footsteps appear as something invisible walks across the floor. Many in the comments note how big the prints are. Others are just glad there isn't a jump scare. To what or who do you think these prints belong? For now, I think it'll remain a mystery. A YouTuber named BloodZack12 is investigating a forest that's supposedly haunted. He and his friends don't see anything for a long time until they come across some weird discarded opera mask laying on top of an old dirty clothes pile. A short distance away, they find another opera mask hanging up in the trees. They decide to take this one home and study it for clues. They are talking about what to do next when BloodZack12 notices something hunched over in front of them. Someone dressed in all black looks up at them from the thickets and then gives a short chase. I have a hard time believing this video is real because of the movie-like sound effects and timing, but I guess it is possible. Let me know if you think they were genuinely being chased by some maniac lurking in the woods, or if the third person was just a friend. Is this the floating soul of a departed one? Published by Frankly2112 in October of 2008, a ghost hunting crew encountered a strange floating orb while wandering through a cemetery at night. The light glows brightly at the center of what appears to be a semi-transparent figure. Then again, the apparent figure could just be the extension of the light's rays. As the cameraman pans away and back again, the beam moves quickly out of frame and out of sight. YouTuber Price Paranormal writes, "It almost seems elemental or interdimensional." Others note that the light seems to materialize there and that it appears like someone holding fire in their hand. What do you think this is? Are the spirits alive in this graveyard? I'd be staying far away from this place.
Now, this ladder is walking down the driveway. No one's touching it. No one's around it. And it's actually walking down the driveway.
That's the reaction of Tony Doe as he videotapes a walking ladder on its own. The ladder clatters down the driveway as if someone is guiding it in short steps, but nobody is near. If you have any possible explanations for this, or have seen this before with your own eyes, then please share your experience. If no one has a proper explanation, then this is one of the most perplexing videos I think I've analyzed on this channel to date. TikToker Google the Curious is wondering what they found at these precise coordinates. The camera zooms in upon a snowscape in Antarctica. As it zeroes in, you can see multiple buildings, some equidistant from each other. They kind of look like stitches in the earth from so far away. What are these mysterious buildings? My first guess would be research stations, but why so many? And why arranged in this strange pattern? TikTokers have other ideas. I'm going to stick with research stations on this one, but they definitely look creepy from this vantage point. This video could very well be proof that the humanoid kingdom extends into the insect world. At first glance, this video appears to be a firefly or some similar sort of bug, but when slowed down frame by frame, you can clearly see that this is not a bug at all, but rather appears to be a tiny winged humanoid. The video shows an insect-like humanoid with clearly discernible arms and legs. Unlike most bugs, this humanoid only has 4 limbs, and the arms appear to be twice as short as the legs, much like a person. There's simply no insect on Earth like it. It's just too bad the lighting conditions don't provide more detail, because it would have been interesting to see more of its face and overall color pattern. Exactly where this video was shot is not known. YouTuber named Jason L is rock climbing with his friend Kevin when they come across a narrow and claustrophobic crevice. Not wanting to get left behind, Jason follows Kevin's lead, but his resolve weakens considerably about midway through.
I'm kind of wishing we didn't come in here, Kevin. Why? I'm pretty terrified.
Barely 10 seconds later, Jason takes the worst step of his life.
Oh no.
Here, give me the camera.
My foot's stuck. My foot's stuck. I'm so serious, I can't move.
After some initial panic, he steps out of his shoe and manages to dislodge it. After some effort with both hands, look again and you can see what would have happened if Jason L had tripped and fallen forward. Instead of stepping out of his shoe, it's a sharp drop down a series of spiky rocks that could have easily resulted in shattered bones and an emergency airlift. This was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Skateboard Chris. The Redditor wrote, "I accidentally deleted the raw video and not the TikTok that automatically saved, but this is the second time I've caught a light switch turning off and on by itself. My dog reacts too, and when the video zooms in, it does appear that the light switches turn on and off of their own accord." Hawaii Sunburnt 20 commented, "I would be taking apart that light switch. Would you be curious enough to do the same? I'd be getting far away from this haunted house. Phil the Thrill is exploring the forest with a friend when they encounter something strange in the water that looks really out of place.
You see that?
What?
What is that?
Discarded at the end of a small stone trail is a black box tightly bound by rope with a single padlock hanging over one end. Across from the padlock is a note written for whoever finds it.
Just beat the heck out of it. Maybe it will open.
Hey, dude, what is this?
Let me see.
Like a note or something?
Oh, what the heck?
With sadness, I'm writing this letter because I can no longer take care of her. I thought this could be the best way to give her a new life.
They take the mystery box all the way back to their house where they have the tools needed to pick the lock. Whatever's inside has been silent the entire time, and they fear the worst as they pop the lid.
Pull it off. Let's see what's in here. What the? There's a baby in here?
Inside is not a dog like they were thinking. Apparently, whoever left the note was the parent.
After that, I immediately called the police.
I have trouble believing she's actually left her out in the forest. The youngster is clean and not underweight. Her clothes aren't dirty and her pacifier is still in her mouth despite getting rattled around on the way back. Phil the Thrill goes on to claim he called the police immediately. According to him, they came out and told him not to film anymore.
The police, and they were able to get the baby reunited with her parents. The police told me not to record the phone call. That's why I'm not going to post any of the footage on YouTube.
It doesn't make sense for him to post all of this other stuff, but not the one thing that would have convinced me. I think a more likely reason for the lack of a phone call is because faking a police report can get you in serious trouble. Then again, it wouldn't be that hard to pretend to talk to the police on his phone if you really wanted to fake it. Now, I'm not so sure if it's real or fake, and I guess that's why this creepy video's gotten well over 6 million views. Something lives in the dark corners of this abandoned Catholic school. Published by Exploring with Big D in January of 2022, a paranormal team is exploring the school when they hear something unholy. Listen closely at the very beginning of the video. You'll hear an animalistic growl. It sounds like it's coming. Trust your gut. What is your gut telling you? Corridor heading off ahead, lots of stones and discarded brick and wiring. There is a room to the right, directly below Dempsey 7's apartment. On the wall is graffiti that reads CCFC OK, judging from the flooring. Dempsey 7 believes it used to be a burial ground. He heads down the corridor. Most of the dungeon is piled with rubbish, dirt, and old brick. He finds a newspaper dating back to 1984. He finds what looks like an old front door. Did someone used to live here? Or perhaps the house was built over an older existing foundation? Whatever the case, a dungeon is one secret room I wouldn't want to find in my new home. This 4-part TikTok series is a journey. Posted by Breadcrumb and Beaver's Pit, the TikToker was working her shift when she spotted something creepy between a crack in the ceiling tiles. It looks like an old man's face or a shrunken head.
So I was staring at my ceiling right at work, and then like I see this leg right, and I go over here.
In the second video, the TikToker reveals the outside of this building. She says part of the building was a school from the 1920s. She enters the kitchen. The face thing is still exactly where it was last time, seemingly peering through the cracks. She tries to lift the ceiling tile using a broom. At this point, she thinks it's either insulation or a rope.
Here's the legendary area. It's still there. Just chilling. The villain.
Next video sees her climbing up a stepladder to investigate. After lifting the tile, you don't really see the face thing, but you do see that there's a whole other room up there. In the last video, the mystery is solved. Lifting the ceiling tile, you can see what the object is. As the OP suggested earlier, a rope. What was it used for? The OP's theory is an old school bell, although you may think the saga is over. Some in the comments are seeing and hearing new mysteries. One hears something crying in this last clip, and some even claim to see a new person peering down at her. I am not personally seeing or hearing any of that, so we'll just stick with the rope. Mystery solved. While investigating the haunted Airh House, Sunny finds that the stories are true. Sunny's experience there gets off to a rocky start. The crew starts to sense things and hear things. whose identity remains unknown hears a strange noise outside of his room and decides to investigate. He doesn't make it very far before he finds his investigation has gone wrong in a terrifying way. His final scary moments are caught on camera and it looks pretty grim.
See, I'm gonna go out there and look.
A slight smirk shows he never expected an unknown creature to descend upon him from within the darkened doorway. He doesn't have a chance to properly scream before the mysterious animal-like figure is on him in a single scary moment that probably ended badly. The creature's snout and a dog-like face are visible moments before it strikes at 5 seconds, along with 2 beady white eyes. So maybe this is a dogman sighting caught on tape and something that's beyond creepy. These weird white streaks of light look to be the dogman's claws, and they're coming straight down towards this kid's head. Freaky, right? I apologize for the poor quality of this video, but the backstory is too good to pass up. The Newcastle High School in Indiana received a notification from their security company that something weird was going on, so they looked at the CCTV videos to see exactly what the problem was.
See here, the lights are off in the choir room.
I'm actually freaking out right now.
Me too.
Power goes out.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
This is scaring me.
So I'm thinking that the power going off is weird enough, but look what happens when it comes back on.
The lights are on. What the?
Do you see that? What? The light came on.
I'm no electrician, but if the lights in the other room were off before the power outage, then they shouldn't come back on unless someone was in the room to mess with the switch. But as far as anyone knows, it was late at night and the school was empty, so I don't know how this could be. If you didn't like going to school, this video will validate your feelings. Posted to YouTube by Alan Ubig in June of 2018, the uploader writes, "The ghost of the Victoria School Lagoon was captured on CCTV yesterday at 9 a.m. A man is sweeping the floor, minding his own business, when about 10 feet away, 2 items which look like standing dustpans glide across the room, moving from one side of the path to the other. No one else is around. The strange thing is that the man cleaning just watches this happen, but doesn't react whatsoever. Maybe he's all too familiar with the Victoria School ghost. Who or what is playing here? Is it something that can be explained, or is this school undoubtedly haunted? Nothing like an old village to cruise for some ghosts." Published in September of 2015, this footage purportedly shows a ghost near some old village homes. It's unclear where this video was shot, so it could be any old village anywhere in the world. Let's explore it. The clip takes in the surrounding area of these homes. Nothing appears out of place, although the homes seem to be abandoned. The camera follows some birds on a roof before panning down to capture some ants on the ground. The shot pulls up from the grass and mud and pans around the area. That's when you see it. Too quick to make out any details, an apparition in all black appears on screen for a brief moment, standing off in the distance on some pavement. The figure is still as the shot moves around. What is this? Do you think it's a ghost too? That's at least what the uploader claims. Many have debated whether it is or not, and with no other footage, it will most likely remain a mystery for the foreseeable future. Paranormal Activity was recently caught on video by this family in Pakistan, but I'm not sure if this is a poltergeist or just them throwing things around, so help me decide. Most of the objects come from the corner of the screen and could have been easily thrown by someone off camera. I'm not sure how they made the table come back after it was thrown against the wall, but it doesn't look that heavy, so maybe it was on a wire. I guess we'll never know for sure. The grounds where a double life-taking has occurred is no place to be at night. The guys in this video learned that the hard way. Published to YouTube by the Valspire family in October of 2017, this ghost investigation has all the right ingredients for fear: a storm, an abandoned house at night in the middle of the woods, and a Ouija board. The host, Aiden, says the house has a super creepy backstory and is said to be haunted. The story goes that two male lovers built a mansion up in the woods, as such things weren't accepted at the time. The men had their lives taken in this home. The suspects received life sentences in 1982, but the fact that the police investigation turned up occult tools and books, along with the macabre decor of the home, turned the event into a media circus. The men were labeled devil worshippers. And now back to this video. The ghost investigators leave their house at midnight in a storm, planning to arrive at Corpsewood Manor at 3 a.m. They drive into the woods and then set out on foot on the path, not sure where they are, ready to get lost. They arrive at a fork in the road and finally find their way to the abandoned manor. Aiden hears a grumbling, which he admits may be thunder.
I heard like a grumbling, but that might have been thunder.
He says that his camera, with its full battery, keeps shutting off every time they attempt to start with the Ouija board. At 3 in the morning, they begin asking the Ouija board if anyone had their life taken there. Nothing happens, but they do hear something in the vicinity. Aiden says that he wants to go check it out and thinks it sounded like someone walking.
I heard someone over there.
Jared is freaked out, hearing another sound in the trees. He thinks it was probably the wind.
Dude, I heard something.
No, you did not.
They decide to leave because Jared can't take it anymore. Can you blame him? Aiden recalls that when he sat at the Ouija board and opened up the portal to the spirit world, he forgot to say goodbye, and he claims that ever since then, weird stuff has been happening. All I know is that place seriously seemed haunted. Published by Mindzoga in April of 2013, the uploader writes, while riding in huge forest, accidentally found a secret base. It is completely deserted in one of the spookiest places I have ever been. The uploader was biking across a dirt road through Lithuania when he came across this base. The video shows derelict buildings on either side of the road, having long been abandoned. It's hard to tell who or what the buildings once housed, but there's plenty of them. Soon the bikers entered a more wooded area, where he decides to go off-road with his bike. He comes across a triangular building built into the ground. There's also a deep hole in the concrete, and a concrete slab set to the side with something, possibly a pipe entering the hole. friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room, so they need to cut more. By now, the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. A YouTuber named Justin Martinez is recording some planes near his house when he notices one of the planes has extremely sporadic flight patterns, almost as if it is stalking the other one. Then this happens out of nowhere. The plane is suddenly scooped up and fully disappears. When you zoom in and slow down, you can see it's probably not a plane, but rather a UFO. It flies up and away from the scene at a high rate of speed. I think this video might be CGI because it does look a little grainy. Other people in the comments section, however, have proposed that it's everything from flying insects to the same thing that took down the Malaysian Flight 370 not too long ago. Castles and forts often have long and frightening histories. This one is no exception. Published by Vault of Fear in April of 2012, a family was visiting this old fort when they captured something spooky on camera. The video shows a full torso shadow figure appearing to climb the stairs into the fort. A split second later, two crows flee from the windows. We can assume disturbed by the apparition. Apparently, this site has experienced paranormal activity for some 4,000 years. Judging by this video, that activity isn't going to end anytime soon. A YouTuber named Ben S is low on gas, so he pulls into a nearby station. He always wears a GoPro helmet when riding, and as he is fumbling with the card reader at the pump, it records something that he will have a tough time explaining later. A shadow passes by close enough to make Ben react. He turns around only to find nothing. What's really strange to me is how, if you pay close attention, you'll see the shadow disappear before it even makes it all the way across the pump. It's going from left to right normally and then suddenly vanishes somewhere in the middle. I know that shadows can sometimes play tricks on you, so I'm not going to say that this is 100% paranormal. If you have a scientific explanation as to how this could have happened, please share. Until then, I am inclined to take Ben's word that this was a phantom figure. Ghost investigations are even scarier in another language. In this video posted to YouTube in December of 2018, ghost investigators attempt to infiltrate an abandoned house that we can only guess is haunted. At least it looks that way. While exploring the home, the investigator keeps hearing things moving, debris being unsettled, and from the way he's jerking his camera around, it seems he's sensing movements around him. What is in this home with him? The place appears as though someone just picked up and left. It's covered with debris and looks like it was abandoned in a state of chaos. While creeping around some upstairs room, the ghost investigators appear to sense someone or something, and that something grabs a hold of him. It's clear he's struggling with a force in the home. He tussles with it and for a moment is dragged backwards by the force before he escapes, racing out of there like his life depends on it, which it probably does. What is going on in this video? Is there any explanation as to what pulled this ghost investigator backwards? It certainly looks real to me. For fear of knowing, don't answer. After all, I don't think 99% of people could handle the answer.
어딨어? 자신 있으면 나와봐.
Its growl soon sends him running. And despite fleeing the werewolf, it's still stalking them in the darkness.
Liga logo tua moto, liga! Vai, liga.
Will they escape?
Tô vendo.
They better hope so, or I think they'll soon be part of the wolf pack too. According to YouTuber Extinct File, the locals in this community say that macabre events happen inside this cursed restaurant, and when the Extinct File team visited, they weren't disappointed. As they searched the place, a moan is heard. Then they happen upon this strange message.
¿Ven esto, familia? No mames, güey. Ve eso. CJNG.
I'm not sure what that could mean. As the team descends the stairs, something nearby breaks.
¿Qué pedo? A la madre, güey. ¿Qué pedo?
Then they come across a mysterious object in a bucket. I really want to know what's so disturbing in that bucket that it must be censored. And as they're looking at it, they hear more noise.
Veo algo raro ahí, güey. No mames. No mames. Velo tú mismo, güey.
And yet another room banging is heard.
La madre, güey. Algo nos aventaron, ¿eh?
And again.
Buenas noches.
La madre, güey. No mames. Va a ser alguien, güey. Está afuera, ¿eh?
Is something after them?
La madre, güey. La madre. No. Güey. Están por todos lados, güey. No nos quieren aquí, ¿eh?
I think it's pretty clear that ghost hunters aren't welcome here. This is the curses territory, and if you know anything about curses, you know not to mess with them. Time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by RatLiveWife, this ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. This rocket ride is a famous local attraction at the Luna Park in St. Petersburg, Russia. Here's what the ride looks like normally, and this is what it looks like after a cable frays to the point of snapping clean through. This angle clearly shows how close the riders are to plummeting hundreds of feet below. Look at the top of the ride. That cable to the left is the only thing keeping them alive. The tip of the ride is bending from the pressure and looks ready to come off. Rescue workers are eventually able to get everyone down to safety, though I'm not sure they felt anything but safe while dangling over 200 feet in the air with no end in sight. A man named John Crawford casually walks around a Walmart in Beaver Creek, Ohio, well armed. Here you can see him standing in an aisle on the right side of the screen.
Gun in the store.
Is he got it pulled out?
Yeah, he's like pointing at people.
What does he look like?
The 911 caller grows more nervous with each passing moment and tells the operator that the situation is growing dire.
I don't know what he's just like looking around, waving it. He looks like he's just trying to load it.
He's just trying to load it?
Yeah.
Confirmed.
Soon a family of 3 walks down the same aisle as John Crawford and starts checking out some animals for sale. This is where the 911 call gets kind of strange.
My name is Ronald Ritchie. He just pointed at like 2 children.
Okay.
Watch the video again and you'll see that John never really aims at the kids. In fact, the family barely reacts to his presence, and I'm not sure if they even notice him at all. One of them hangs around a bit longer before leaving, so I wouldn't say they were exactly in distress, but the way the 911 caller describes the man and his actions understandably has the police on edge. An officer arrives on the scene expecting trouble, and a brief altercation ensues. The surprised suspect is laid to rest on the spot after police thought he was going to attack. As it turns out, John Crawford was simply buying an airsoft at Walmart on that day. The person who called 911 did not get in any trouble, but many now agree he was overreacting. Let me know if you would have called the police based on what you've seen on this CCTV video. Old tunnels are full of history, and often that history is fearful. Published to YouTube by IKS Exploration in March of 2017, this clip explores the abandoned Dover tunnels. According to the channel, this is one of the many tunnels bored into the ground to allow fresh spring water through without upsetting the ground above. Me and Chris don't feel good in this location. Strange sounds and hums can be heard. He also claims to have heard a voice that sounded like that of a girl. Wear your headphones to hear what they hear.
Just that.
As the pair wander through the impressive tunnels, they appear indefinite. Will the explorers make it out of here alive, or be left wandering this labyrinth for eternity? As noted, the tunnels have cracks in the linings, making them particularly dangerous. Today they are locked down and inaccessible to the public. Probably a good thing. While sitting around playing video games, little did this guy know he was about to be in one. Published by C. Sano Act in November of 2011, this guy was hanging out in the living room when he heard something from the kitchen. Getting up to check it out, he doesn't seem to see anything of substance, but something of substance knocks him to the floor. He's dragged across the room and out of sight. Is this ghost hinting that he should get his homework done? Or does this house have a serious poltergeist in residence? It'd be hard to ignore after an incident like this. Something weird has been going in and out of the McGulphin Middle School in El Paso, Texas late at night, and this superintendent appears to have caught it on tape.
Okay, so you're looking at this white thing right there. I have no idea what it is.
Dude, that just came out of the boys' restroom.
This right here.
Isn't that bathroom apparently haunted too?
A small white object darts from the hall into the restroom. It's a very odd shape, and I can't tell if it walks on 2 legs or 4, or maybe it's even floating. I think it could just be a raccoon, but if this is a curious animal and not a spirit, then shouldn't it be more interested in the cafeteria or some location with food? One of the students mentions that both bathrooms on this floor are rumored to be haunted, so there's definitely a chance that this is a real ghost caught on school CCTV. If anyone goes to the school, please verify that these rumors are true or not. This rare footage of a sewer monster is brief, but frightening. The video seems to capture a glimpse of something large with a tail launching around the underground. The black and white adds to the creepiness of the footage when suddenly something the size of a kangaroo moves swiftly past and out of sight. Although not quite as unsettling in movement as a creepy critter might be, whatever this strange being is, it looks completely out of place in the sewage system. Any idea what this strange creature could be? Mutations are not an uncommon occurrence amongst calves, but they are rare enough where witnessing one might surprise you. This calf was born in Villa Ana, Argentina in September of 2019, and it did indeed surprise its owners, as it appeared to have a human face. The calf was born with a malformed skull, a small nose and mouth, and had difficulty holding its head up. It passed away within hours of this video, but farmers shared the footage online, sending the video viral. Speaking to local media, genetics expert Nicholas Menego said the calf might have possessed a rare genetic mutation. Similar incidents have been captured on video across the world, with a 2-headed calf with features to boot, 2 mouths and 4 eyes, in India earlier in 2019. Although not too unusual from a biological standpoint, I think we can all agree that looking into the sad-looking eyes of this calf, after knowing what happened to it, takes courage. This video features an exorcism in action as the man wails demon-like in the background. A Russian Orthodox priest places a holy book under his head and reads the ritualistic prayers or blessing while patting the possessed man on the chest. The man jerks and squawks, baring his teeth. As the priest continues his duty without flinching, he begins to shake his head back and forth, pale as a ghost, a blank expression on his face, and then he is still. The priest lifts his head into view of the camera as he continues to perform the exorcism, pressing something to the man's forehead. The man's eyes are rolled into the back of his head, leaving only the whites of his eyes in view, a very disturbing image. He then closes his eyes and later whispers something to the priest. The footage ends shortly thereafter, and it's unclear if the exorcism was successful or not, but if you didn't believe in demonic possession before, after watching this video, you might just find yourself a believer. A paranormal video from Russia follows ghost hunter Sergei Sokolov on an urban exploration that creeps him out. The investigation eventually leads him to what appears to be a recently used altar. Crushed cans rest on 3 points of the evil-looking star, northwest and southeast, probably where candles are going to soon be burned for a ritual of some kind, but it looks like a summoning ritual might have already been performed when this happens. They are wrapping up the paranormal video in typical YouTube style when something weird is caught on camera behind him. Some people say this is a possible paranormal entity, but if you pay attention, it looks like it it could be a drawing on the wall, but even so, why is only the drawing lighting up? It's well documented that creatures in the deep ocean are mysterious and terrifying, but will not often cross paths with such creatures due to the depths they inhabit. However, rarely do we imagine what the muddy waters of our rivers are hiding. Published by Kiwi TV on YouTube in April of 2016, this river in China is hiding something frightening. Marine life that looks partly hippo, partly dolphin, partly crocodile, and wholly terrifying was caught on camera while being poked and prodded by a garden tool. The large river-dwelling creature doesn't move much while being examined, nor does it appear to see much, as it seems not to have eyes. An anonymous YouTuber suggests it's a type of river dolphin. However, it doesn't look much like the baji, a river dolphin that was believed to have gone extinct in the early 2000s. While that sighting was not altogether confirmed, this additional footage may suggest the aquatic mammal is, in fact, alive, though the population has been shrinking since the 80s. The baji appear to have a longer and narrower bill, while this strange one caught in this video features a wider bill, no eyes, and lots of body splotches and patches. Is this a deformed baji? If not the baji, what other type of aquatic creature might this be? When somebody finds a spider in their home, some people would swat it on the spot with the nearest object, while others would try to find some way to let it go outside. Then there are a small percentage who would grab a camera and let the spider crawl all over them, like Feo 3 here.
Oh yeah. I got a spider crawling on me.
He never intended for the arachnid to take a detour across his throat and then stamp its way across his face. He manages to stay calm and only has one thing to ask.
And it's crawling on my face, isn't it?
Why, yes it is. Right towards your ear hole, unfortunately. Thinking fast, he tries to divert the spider away from his ear, but ends up encouraging it to almost burrow straight inside. He is so lucky that the spider decides not to do that, because that would have been a horrible trip to the hospital for sure. Not that having a spider in your hair is any consolation prize, but you get what I mean.
Patrick Janssen goes into the basement to retrieve some belongings, among them a camera, when he sees something out of the corner of his eye. He decides to start recording all around him since he has his camera anyway, and he's surprised by what he finds. Here it is again in slow motion, a black shadow passing from left to right as he walks forward. A shadow that looks different than his own is shown here at 32 seconds, which looks normal and comes from the proper angle. So tell me if Patrick is just good at video editing, or if there's truly a shadow person in his home, because I think something could be living down there rent-free.
A YouTuber named JMansVlogs356 was watching a movie. When he hears a noise coming from the basement, he notices that the door, which is normally locked, has somehow become unlocked in the past few minutes. Thinking fast, Jay grabs a large hammer and braces himself for the worst. Soon after, something stops him before he even gets a chance to go down the steps.
Right there. Oh, wait. Right there. That's a face. Oh my gosh.
He claims to have seen a face, and his camera does pick up what could be the head of a tall man staring back at him. According to the description for this video, feet in the air with no way down. Soon they improvise a safety harness that looks to be little more than some cords haphazardly knotted together. I really doubt this design would realistically hold his weight, but let me know what you think. They are trying to figure out what to do next when they see something in the distance. Watch his feet closely and tell me if he looks like he almost loses his balance at the end.
There's a car! Come on!
He carefully lowers himself to the bottom and manages not to break the harness. The harness appears to be very loose at the end and could have come undone at any second. They show the drop at the end and it definitely looks like they were high up enough to cause some serious damage. This Redditor's friend captured something mysterious on her Ring camera. The footage shows a chair sitting outside on the porch. One moment it is empty, the next a figure seems to be sitting there.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Some in the comments say the entire frame is jumping, which suggests a time lapse in the video.
Okay, so now I'm going to slow it down for you guys. You see that? I don't know what the that is in my chair. The stool moves back and forth just once.
Without the full video, they think a pet or a wild animal may have perched in the chair, appearing like a person, but it doesn't look like any species of animal I've ever seen. What do you think is going on here? According to the legend, there are many different ways to summon Bloody Mary, which means that the method you choose could change what happens to you. The person in this video uses a slightly different method that I've never seen before. Instead of spinning around 3 times and then saying Bloody Mary, she says Bloody Mary once after each spin. This is the end result. Her face becomes smeared and she quickly darts out of the room. If this video is real, then it appears that Bloody Mary somehow removed all of her facial features, perhaps as a warning. An adventurer in India sees something truly chilling.
ये तो वो चुड़ैल है। ये कोई औरत खड़ी हुई है नीचे। हम छत के ऊपर आए हैं कैमरे उतारने के लिए और ये औरत नीचे खड़ी हुई है। वो इधर से।
He diverts his horrified gaze, and when he looks up, it's gone, but not for long.
ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये कमरे भी आप देख सकते हैं, लॉक किए हुए हैं इन्होंने। ये आप सुन सकते हैं।
Red blotches on the curtains mark where an apparition has touched the cloth. I did not see these handprints here moments before. He goes outside and finds a drastic change of weather, further evidence of displeasing a powerful spirit.
ये आप देख सकते हैं, ये आवाज़ें भी आप सुन सकते हैं।
He turns around to go inside for shelter, only to be greeted by the sound of a child's voice through a partially open door.
अभी दोस्तों इधर से जा रहे हैं, इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट टाइम हम जब आएंगे किसी बुजुर्ग को साथ में लेकर आएंगे।
He wisely decides to wait out the storm outside and does not go back in. I suppose he figures it would be quicker and less scary to chance it with the lightning, rather than return to whatever poltergeist activity is waiting for him there. This homeowner in Montgomery, Texas catches a stranger in distress on their doorbell cam. It's about 3 in the morning when a woman frantically rings the bell at the Sunrise Ranch subdivision. Look again and you'll notice what could be shackles dangling from both of her arms, suggesting this person could have been taken captive and recently freed themselves. The sheriff's department is worried that this woman may have been running for her life and trying to get help from the nearest home. Police released this video in August of 2018 hoping for anonymous tips, but so far no one has come forward with any explanation. As for who this woman is or what happened to her on that fateful night, no one can say for sure. This ghost is trying to bum a ride. Posted by Ghost Videos in July of 2020. A man was driving in Johor, Malaysia when he crossed paths with a hitchhiking spirit. The dashcam footage shows a dark, empty room at night. According to the timestamp, it's around 2 in the morning in July of 2019. As the car barrels down the road, a semi-transparent figure appears in the dark lane on the right. You can barely make out the apparition as it holds out its thumb to catch a ride. What do you think? A live person half hidden in the darkness? Hitchhiking in the darkness of night? If so, what is the spirit's destination? We may never know. A YouTuber named Jake Carlini and his friends all want to experience creepy Randonautica moments, so they summon the scariest thing that comes to mind, forest clowns.
We're all gonna think about clowns.
The app takes them randonauting to a scary location in the woods that creeps them out even in broad daylight. A bird calls overhead, but listen closely, and you'll hear creepy noises coming from deeper in the woods.
Do you guys hear that?
Circus music, to be precise.
I hear circus music.
Oh my god.
It's not like an ice cream truck would be driving out here, so there's no reason for scary sounds to be playing in the middle of the woods. They leave before they can get a clown sighting on video, but maybe they'll go exploring there again one day. A YouTuber named The Inception of Yara Phoenix captures a scary moment on camera while exploring India. While doing some kind of construction work, a member of this crew holds a spike in place while another swings a heavy hammer a few feet from his head. The man is leaning away as far as he can, but with no helmet and no other kind of protection, not even a barrier to keep pedestrians from walking into him. It really does seem like a matter of time before something really scary happens. Take a listen for yourself.
And he's one miss and you're...
Those are some heavy blows that there would be no recovering from if a mistake were to happen. I can only imagine how scary it would be to be working in that position, putting your life in the hands of somebody else who you probably barely know, hearing the sound of the hammer coming so close over and over again. This scary moment caught on tape is no doubt 100% real, and this is exactly what makes it so terrifying. You may remember this story from one of my previous videos, where Steve Ronan and his group of friends found a lost girl in a deep underground cave. One of the people with him was fellow YouTuber Exploring with Josh, and we can analyze his footage of the event for more clarity on what happened. The group stumbled upon this scared girl while exploring the cave, and they reunite her with her parents. What remains unclear is how this girl managed to wander so deep into the cave with no flashlight or supplies.
We were so curious to know what was through this tunnel. This is crazy. It's okay. It's alright. This is the way back.
Numerous news agencies have now covered the story, with none being able to offer an explanation. Nevertheless, she was clearly lost, and if it wasn't for these YouTubers saving the day, she may have never made it out of that cave. The Zombie Road in Missouri is purportedly haunted, and YouTube Team Soul Searching is investigating it themselves. As they start on the trail, they receive a message from the beyond.
I know that's kind of weird that it said seeds, because that's usually my thing. I bring seeds.
It's asking for seeds and we don't have them. It's maybe...
I know, because I switched from my camera bag too.
The YouTuber leaves her camera on while walking, and the audio captures this.
A cannon from the Civil War.
Could be.
Yeah. There's Civil War goes down this road.
That really did sound like a cannon to me. Later, they capture an EVP on their digital recorder.
Is that box, that white noise? Can you tell us your name?
It's trying, but the Faraday can't.
Can you tell us? Can you tell us? Can you tell?
They believe it sounds like I am here, but I'm not sure if I hear that. However, it does sound to me like a whisper. As they continue, another unexplained noise is captured.
You have to look at
This voice that they hear sounds rather mechanical. Could it simply be the sound of one of their devices? Well, I can't say for sure that Zombie Road is haunted based on these findings. The ghostly cannon strikes me as a true Civil War curse. A woman is driving in the woods at night when she hears this. Published by Bigfoot's testimony. This poor soul caught a truly frightening encounter on camera. The footage shows a woman heading home late at night when she pauses for a moment after hearing something.
Do you hear
She starts driving forward again, but then after stalling in the middle of the road, she hears this horrifying scream.
Oh my god, no. That.
The sound freaks her out so much, she speeds off. Many in the comments are saying lots of animals make scary noises in the wild. Some think this could be a bobcat. Others say it's obviously the ghost lady of the woods. While many are getting horror movie vibes, perhaps those most familiar with the forest can explain. Any park rangers here? I'm sure your opinion can help us solve this mystery. Neutralizer Ghost is the name of a paranormal investigation channel in Indonesia that has some really creepy videos. Beyond the outskirts of town lies a ghost colony, and sometimes a paranormal entity or two will wander into some local houses to haunt. This one looks small and frail, bound tightly in burial garbs. It has sentience and follows the investigator's movements with its head. He talks to it for a little bit and seems to ask questions in the hopes that it will answer.
Aku yo kesel ket mangga sekitar ketara nemu opo-opo. Saya gak nek tak barbari. Ini enaknya kita apain teman-teman sih soal.
The mysterious figure never offers an explanation. They never seem to. He attempts to rip off its face covering and the spirit quickly disappears. He checks all around the area and no longer sees or senses it's near. The paranormal exploration continues for a while until he's convinced the town is clear. Maybe next time he'll get a hold of its robes and finally reveal the spirit figure's true face. If you have a sibling, then they've likely played practical jokes on you before. But what happens when the impractical is not a joke? In this video, something is seen floating on the other side of the room. As the boys grow increasingly panicked, a toy car is thrown at the younger brother, while another toy car comes flying towards the older brother, seemingly of its own accord. The video cuts out and then resumes as the brothers are arguing with each other in Malay, perhaps blaming each other for the paranormal activity. The younger brother is being yelled at, and he screams back in anger before leaving the room. The older brother looks concerned, and when they go check on him, they find a figure standing on the toilet hanging upside down. After shouting out, one of the older brothers rushes back into the dining room, and it seems the paranormal is not over yet. A chair shoves out from under the table on its own. He grabs his phone, while the other brother attempts to restrain the child. That's where the video ends. While many in the comments are doubtful of this video's authenticity, some are all in saying this is real. Facebook user Mohammed Zarif Amin is one of the latter, writing, "All of you who comment says this is all an act. Just be careful if he wants to disturb you. We have to believe this smooth creature exists. I guess if we don't believe, we are more vulnerable." A security guard is walking up a stairwell on his overnight shift when he hears this. Posted to TikTok, Simon Lockhart shines his flashlight on the floors below and above and can't tell from which direction the footsteps are coming, but then they come running at him.
Oh my, what the what the Bro.
If your heart just jumped into your throat, you're not alone. Some in the comments say they see a face in the door. When he looks up, do you see it? Is this what is chasing him?
Oh my, what the what the
Redditor HD Gun posted this footage to the Ghosts subreddit. The video shows a semi-transparent figure rush past. The figure is short in stature and appears to enter from behind some plants near the home's fence. Of course, Redditors have some theories. Well, I'm not sure that I agree it's a parrot. I do think it's an animal. You can see there's a blur, smudge, or lens flare on the lower portion of the camera, which is probably why the figure looked blurred. But to me, the figure looks like it's walking, not flying. Well, it could very well be paranormal. The way it's moving looks like how a monkey walks to me. So I'm thinking now there's a possibility it's a wild animal. But why would it look like this on camera? Hey, it's Liam is a British YouTuber doing a 24-hour challenge in a local abandoned sanatorium. He and his friends climb through an open window and waste no time exploring a series of long interconnected hallways for whatever they can find. The floor is covered with scattered papers. It's definitely creepy, but they decide to press on. They venture downstairs and find lots of graffiti on the wall, strange messages like "Don't listen to the voices" and "How long will they keep me down here?" It's unclear whether or not these words were written by patients before the facility closed down. Now midnight is fast approaching and Liam hears a noise nearby. They bravely go to investigate as a group, and this is what they find.
I don't know. We have to get
A door that was open moments ago slams in front of them. Then, as they are trying not to panic and decide what to do next, a scream interrupts their thoughts and sends them fleeing. Let me know if you think the scream was real or edited. GeoMeo9 is a YouTuber who claims to have bought an old photo that comes with a worrisome curse. He doubted the legend at first, but soon found it to be true with his own eyes. I could be wrong, but this kind of looks like the hologram photos you can buy at certain gift stores. But then again, GeoMeo9 uploaded this video in 2006, and I'm not even sure they were made back then. Maybe someone can let me know in the comments section. The Haunted Hub is a YouTube channel that posts full paranormal investigations taken throughout England. This time they find themselves in a Victorian hospital called Thackeray, where starvation, beatings, and other extreme punishments were the norm. As the night progresses, they find themselves communicating with the spirit of a nun. One member holds a cross in front of him, and they all watch in amazement as orbs seem to follow wherever he goes.
What's in my hand? Are we walking down here?
As Tony evokes a response holding a crucifix, look closely and observe.
I usually don't think much of orbs because they could just be specks of dust, but I will admit that the timing of these orbs is often uncanny.
The ladies here like to speak. I've got a cross in my hand. Does that offend you or does that make you happy? Come speak with us, please.
It really looks like they can see the orbs too. Like during this part, for example. First you see the orb, then moments later the man on the left turns around and appears to see something too. Moments like this one happen throughout the video and makes me think all of this is real. They also pick up some really weird noises on their spirit box. This part sounds like something from another world trying to speak in human tongues. And tell me if this sounds like a spirit who is asking for help. A Reddit user named Poncy Flauns hears something outside of his home that leaves him too afraid to move. Listen to this part and tell me if you hear a creepy woman's voice carrying a twisted tune. The haunting melody repeats over and over again, growing louder each time. There's no way that this is an animal. One person commented that this sounds like it could be an opera, and I can't say that they're wrong. Listen again.
Like, what is that? Then
you hear what sounds to me like a cry for help. and the singing never returns. If I lived in that house, I would be immediately locking all the doors and windows. A YouTuber named Godiva calls this a bizarre sighting caught on camera, and he's definitely right. The slow-moving shadow figure grows larger as it extends over this house. It's all caught on their home CCTV system, and it's a creepy moment for sure, but tell me if it's a formless shadow person or some sort of insect. Two friends are just kidding around when one of them goes running up the steps laughing and smiling, probably to grab the camera, I guess. There's a pause as if the two of them see something, and then a scream that doesn't match their playful laughter seconds ago. Most people agree that she was just being silly and slipped, but others feel she was dragged down by something that was with them both. She doesn't scream as she falls, but it happens so fast that she might have been too surprised. If mysterious creatures with tails make you nervous, then strap in for this video posted to Reddit by Scentless Grape. The video shows horsehair worms leaving their host. Horsehair worms are parasites that usually range from 2 to 3.9 inches long and are often found in bodies of water and other damp areas. Only the larvae are parasitic on beetles, cockroaches, and other insects. In this case, what appears to be a praying mantis. Watching something that is 100% real and insanely disturbing is enough to make anyone nervous. Can you handle this horror you can't ever unsee? Nah, neither can I. A light at the far end of a room is swinging by itself when all of the other lights are as still as can be. Now, before you tell me that it's under a vent, let me show you the same room from a different angle. Look all the way to the ceiling where the fluorescent light is grounded. No vents anywhere. So what's the deal here? Am I missing something major? Or is this light swinging on its own momentum when there's nothing to make it move? A man is quietly fishing by himself, making content for his fishing channel called East Coast Fishing Adventures, completely unaware that he is being watched from afar. Partially concealed in the leaves is a person who is not with him and doesn't have a fishing rod. They just sit on a rock and don't move at all, just watching. The uploader gets the feeling that this is a ghost sighting, and it makes me wonder if he's sitting at the spot where somebody went under and sadly never resurfaced. Don Brada is checking out the crumbling floors of an abandoned office building while wearing a head cam. It isn't long before he hears what could be a door slam shut in the distance.
I swear I heard somebody.
He unsheaths a blunt instrument for protection and continues looking around. Part of him wants to leave, but there's just one more floor left to cover. Eventually, he comes across a section of the building that has collapsed into a large dark hole. I personally don't see anything, but some people claim to see another person looking back in the darkness. Tell me what you see, if anything. The whole time, Don Brada can't shake the feeling that he's being watched, so he leaves the building before anything can take him by surprise. Who knows what would have happened if he stayed there much longer, or worse still, visited at night. Now I must quickly acknowledge that this sport is called football everywhere outside of North America. This ghost is a ball hog. Watch the soccer ball. Well, the first little twist is disturbing enough. The fact that the ball then loosies this Charlie Brown all on its own is even stranger. Those in the comments are wondering how, and I'm guessing it's either remote control activated or something is attached to the torn flap of the ball, which you can see here. Or, you know, it could be a ball-hogging ghost. I'd prefer that. A YouTuber named Lou Rock is live streaming from a supposedly haunted location, known only as the Yellow House. He and his friend are cautiously poking around the abandoned building when a faint noise sends them running directly into a large room to investigate. The room is bare except for an inordinate number of gnarled clothes hangers in the closet, which begin twisting in unison, almost as if in acknowledgement of their presence.
There's not a window open in here.
This is on live stream, so you can see for yourself at no point did they touch the hangers. I think the hangers really are being moved by an unseen force based on what I'm about to show you next. As you can see from this video, there is no wind moving the blinds or curtains at all, so it couldn't have been a draft moving the hangers. They continue to find more weird miscellaneous objects scattered around the house, including a rope tied to a ripped kid's shoe.
It looks like somebody was hung up by their feet.
Giant holes have been punched into the wall of this room, either from destructive teens or from the previous house owner during an aggressive fit of rage. Just as they are sensing something deeply wrong with the kitchen, something brings them back into the room with blown out walls.
Yeah, me too.
What's that?
They are genuinely creeped out by now and don't make it much further before the sound returns again.
Weird. Alright, we're out of here.
At this point, Lou Rock wisely decides to leave before he becomes the Yellow House's next permanent resident. This reportedly leaked video shows the inside of an underground base full of foreign equipment. Rows and rows of what appears to be storage tanks stretch as far as the eye can see, though exactly what's inside is anyone's guess. Look closely at these smooth pods and you'll see that each one contains the dark outline of something growing inside. It looks vaguely human, though its true form cannot be determined. The video's quality is very grainy and looks to be taken at least decades ago, if not longer. Experts have been unable to prove a concrete source for this video, meaning it's probably original. I think that a movie set like this would have cost a lot of money to design, so this is either a very high budget amateur film or most likely real footage taken by unknown people. Let me know what you think it is and be sure to provide more information if you have any. A YouTuber named This Is Dan Bell has made a name for himself by exploring some of the creepiest abandoned places on Earth. This time he is seeing what he can find at an abandoned house outside of Baltimore City, the former home of the notorious Stephen Craig Johnson to be exact. In 1983, Stephen Craig Johnson brutally ended the life of his child in a fit of delusional rage. The case grew famous all up and down the entire East Coast, and it doesn't look like anyone has lived in the house ever since. As Dan Bell travels deeper inside, you can feel the sadness and despair clinging to every room. Amidst the discarded debris and wreckage, Dan Bell finds a weird handwritten letter in the closet with illustrations of a woman on the front and back. There's a brief paragraph talking about how evil the house is and what can be done to stop it. Some of the handwriting is kind of hard to read, so if anyone wants to type this letter out, I would appreciate it. Two things seem kind of sketchy about this letter to me though. First of all, the ink does not look faded enough to be something from the 80s, and the paper does not seem very aged either. I don't think it was penned by anyone in the Johnson family, so maybe someone else snuck inside and placed it here in recent years. Dan Bell is understandably nervous at this point, but he has come this far and there's still an entire second floor left to explore. He eventually finds himself in a stale attic covered with scattered documents and heaps of trash. He's just about to leave when he makes eye contact with something that has been watching him all along. A vulture, the devourer of fallen animals, silently regards him from the floor. Its gaze is calm and expectant, almost prideful in a way. If this really is a wild animal and not staged, then it is almost certainly a bad omen for sure. Scary restaurant video was captured in a bar in Singapore late at night. First, a stool falls over, which I guess could just be a string, but their reaction seems realistic as they all question how this could happen. The entire time, none of them realize that they are being watched by the faint outline of a woman who does not move or make a noise. Maybe it's just me, but it almost looks like this woman's feet are off the ground and she is suspended in the air. This tape was found under a bridge somewhere in Russia. In it, a person is riding their bicycle while talking happily into the camera. If you speak Russian, please let me know what is being said here.
Всем привет. В общем, я сейчас нахожусь под...
Suddenly, their monologue is cut short by a shrill noise off camera.
Слышите?
It sounds like he is asking who is there, when suddenly the answer comes rushing up to him. His scream becomes scrambled and the camera fades away. If this video is real, then I can't help but notice how the mutant shriek sounds almost human. I wonder how close this video was to the infamous site of the Chernobyl meltdown. An Urbex YouTuber called RNK All Day is exploring a creepy building that used to be a funeral home before it was abandoned. The funeral home is not haunted per se, at least not from what I can tell, but what they find is every bit as scary as any ghost video you'll ever watch. You see, a long time ago, this North Carolina establishment was shut down because of improper business operations. People were not notified about their loved ones in a timely fashion, and the remains were often not stored properly at all. As RNK All Day explores the abandoned building, he finds evidence of their misdeeds laying out in the open. Sitting in a battered cupboard box on an old altar is a discarded plastic bag full of what appears to be ashes. There's no way to tell if these are the ashes of someone until you look at the box. That definitely says cremation services. If this is what we think it is, which I think it almost definitely is, then they should be properly placed in an urn, not out in the open like this. And if there are more items like this lying around, then maybe this building is haunted after all. It's midnight when a YouTuber named Porter decides to go exploring some abandoned places near his house in hopes of capturing something scary on video. He and his friends have gone exploring these places in the past, and nothing's wrong before, but exploring abandoned places can always go wrong at a moment's notice, as he and his crew are about to discover. This urban exploration video is never meant to be a paranormal investigation, but soon they come across a tunnel that looks like it could be haunted. As they are exploring the tunnel, they come across a barrel that's been eaten away by corrosive chemicals. Large holes mark where a mysterious substance leaked out, and the old yellow caution tape they've caught on camera is a frightening moment to say the least. They should probably get out of there fast because, aside from being creepy and maybe haunted, the tunnel air is almost certainly not safe to breathe, at least not with this barrel around. They instead keep exploring until a cave-in doesn't allow them to go any further. They finally leave because the section they're in could collapse too, each of them passing by the mysterious barrel one more time on the way out. They wander through the scary woods for a while and eventually come across another eerie passageway that Porter decides not to explore because they're still creeped out about being too close to a possibly radioactive barrel or whatever that was. They should have gone back by now, but they've come all the way here to go exploring an abandoned building, and apparently not enough has gone wrong to make them stop.
We're gonna check out the other building for a little bit, that's it.
They approach the building, but something else grabs their attention, a mysterious hole in the ground.
No, we've already seen that, like during the day. It's like an entrance. No, it's... Oh no, I did not see that.
As they peer inside, all they find is more yellow caution tape and a putrid stench that makes them feel nauseous. They aren't sure what this place is, but it's clear to me that this opening was once covered by a manhole. This is an abandoned sewer pipe that's filled with toxic fumes from bacteria and industrial waste. They aren't feeling too good, but the building is right there, so they decide to take a quick peek. It's beyond creepy inside, and they are inching towards the back when this happens.
Let's go.
A scary voice whispers at them in the darkness and the urban exploration comes to an end. Later, they try not to get caught making a video at the hospital. You can tell it's real because there's hospital equipment beeping and nurses talking in the background.
We had to come to the ER for Braden. Actually got in the car and recorded for a little bit on the way home. He started to get a lot of pain like near his heart, so.
His friend is okay, but they aren't sure if it was from breathing chemicals or a ghost, and this video has gone about as wrong as it gets. QBA is a rapper from Mexico with a fairly popular YouTube channel. Recently, he admitted to the police that he has been working for the New Generation Cartel, which is basically the Mexican mafia. He has taken at least 3 people's lives and even dissolved them in vats of acid. Now police are working hard analyzing his music videos to determine if he has ever confessed to anything else in one of his songs. After all, anyone in the video could be an accomplice, and every lyric or camera shot could be another potential piece of evidence. I watched a lot of his videos for more clues, and the only thing I noticed was how one setting in particular would repeatedly come up. It's always this small wooded area that's by some train tracks. It could just be my imagination, but I can't help but wonder if maybe a fourth body would be found here if police were able to do some investigating in this area. Two adventurous friends are ready to explore an old sewer tunnel, but they don't make it very far before a strange noise makes them turn right around and head back to the light.
Did you hear that? Right.
They escape the tunnel safely, and nothing follows them outside. The obvious answer is that this was some kind of laughing sound effect that they edited in later, but to me it does sound like it was coming from a distance, as if it really was somewhere deeper in the sewer. When Reactor 4 burst at Chernobyl in 1986, a 10-kilometer exclusion zone was formed and thereafter was increased to 30 kilometers. The initial steam blast resulted in 2 passed away, while a further 28 passed within months of exposure. These numbers do not even touch upon the total passing toll caused by radiation, and they also don't touch upon the mutations in humans or animals in the area, which brings us to this footage published in March of 2014. The uploader states that the video is filmed at Chernobyl power plant. A close-up of an animal in the area appears to show a headless form on 4 legs running across the railroad tracks. It almost looks like a headless deer. Some in the comments say that it looks like a large deer with the face of a rabbit, or a moose with a twisted neck, and still others say the creature appears as though its neck is deformed and bending towards the opposite side. Mutant or not, kinda makes you wonder what other nightmare creatures are lurking in the area. A YouTuber named DK goes ghost hunting at 3 a.m. using a mirror in his home that's apparently haunted. He sets up a camera and waits until 3 a.m. Sure enough, the video glitches out and shows what appears to be someone's hand. Also, look in the mirror itself and you'll see a face looking to the left with its eyes closed. Let me know if you see it, and if so, what you make of this haunted mirror. Ron Stevens is ghost hunting in the haunted attic of the Tilly Pierce house, one of the most haunted places in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is where a woman named Tilly Pierce fearlessly tended to those in need during one of the most vicious conflicts of American history. The 15-year-old medic had so many units to watch over that not everyone pulled through, and so ghost sightings in this haunted house are not uncommon. It isn't long before a ghost apparently begins exploring the paranormal equipment they've set up on the ground for it to communicate with, including Bob, the motion sensor activated dog, whose nose lights up when anything passes by.
That's pretty bright. Yeah. Is someone petting Bob? Can you step away from Bob real quick?
They ask the ghost to step away and it immediately stops, which indicates some kind of intelligent presence is with them in the haunted attic.
Now touch Bob. Thank you.
I don't think it's like a sauna up here compared to
what's that?
And soon the ghost is playing with other motion detecting equipment too.
There it is again. Oh, thank you.
The more paranormal equipment they put on the ground, the more the ghost seems to want to interact.
Any Pierces here, or anybody that knew the Pierces?
One of the paranormal investigators begins listing names that she's researched, and orbs begin to fall as she does so.
Did you play with Molly or Margaret? Or Tilly?
Followed by a scary scratchy voice that repeats "I did" in a demonic tone. And as they are all adjusting their paranormal equipment, one of the creepy dolls moves by itself, and by that I mean falls over, considering they brought this doll out there specifically for the paranormal to attach themselves to. I wouldn't be surprised if this was the moment a doll possession was caught on tape.
Here, I wanted to show you these. Why isn't someone turning up the
This ghost hunter should really be looking behind him. Published by Find Ghost in December of 2021, a man stands in the wilderness holding something and addressing what's in front of him. He is oblivious to what's behind him. A djinn appears, transparent at first, but then more solid looking. The djinn stays only for a moment before gradually vanishing again. The moral of the story? Sometimes what you're looking for is right over your shoulder. A YouTuber named Airh is doing a gym vlog when their punching bag begins moving on its own, slowly at first but gaining momentum over time. So even if she pushed it herself, it should slow down over time and eventually settle down. But that's not what happens at all. She dances for almost 10 minutes and the punching bag sways back and forth the entire time. What I can't understand is how she dances so close and doesn't notice the whole time. I guess she must have really been into her routine. There's no strings attached to the piece of equipment, and aside from this explanation, I can't think of any other way she could have faked it. This medicine ball also starts moving in the exact same way with no one touching it, at least no one that I can see, and no shadows on the wall to indicate someone off camera. Again, I can't believe she walks right by, but I suppose she simply feels comfortable at home and isn't exactly looking for anything out of the ordinary. It is said that evil resides here. This paranormal explorer is about to greet it. Ricky Velasquez seems to sense this reputed evil early on. He then senses this hiding under a bench. While outside the structure, he hears a hushed whining or whimpering. Shortly after, he hears what sounds like a bottle being kicked. Back inside, he senses something in his presence again, and then on an upper floor, this unexplained sound. Is evil still lingering? Ricky isn't the only one who can feel it. This video, taken in Lottie, Florida, shows two mysterious government vehicles sticking close together as they head to an undisclosed location. No identifying information is written on the side of the trucks. The first truck has red and blue lights on the top, but the one behind it doesn't have any markings at all and could easily be mistaken for a civilian vehicle to the untrained eye. Both trucks are covered in thick armor, and each one has enough room in the back to serve as a mobile command station of some kind, though for what purpose I can't say. People in the comments section of this video are suggesting everything from hazardous waste cleanup to mind control operations. One of the more convincing comments states that these trucks only are seen when a serious threat to national security is detected, like a nuclear device or worse. Again, I don't know what these vehicles are for, but if I saw one in my neighborhood, I would be worried, let alone seeing two. A YouTuber named 11 Makeda and their friends are camping in the backyard when they completely lose control of their bonfire. First, they try to put out the blaze with a simple garden hose. When that doesn't work, they try to smother the fire with dirt using shovels. Meanwhile, the flames grow taller and hotter as the fire spreads outwards, threatening to reach a house that's only a short distance away. Also, if it reaches the cornfield behind them, then the fire could quickly cover acres of land. The short 5-minute video ends before we get a chance to see what happens next. Hopefully, they did the right thing and called for firefighters to put an end to the backyard inferno. Otherwise, if they were too afraid of getting in trouble and continued to try and contain it themselves, then it might very have cost somebody their home. This video, posted by a man in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh, claims to be targeted by locals after converting to beliefs that's unpopular in the area. Men with their faces covered visit their house with a red canister filled with what I presume is gasoline and threaten to They seem genuinely ready to rip the door down and tear this family apart, especially when they pull out a huge blade and throw it at the door in a display of disgust. Here's the twist. According to a local news source in the area, the video is staged and was made by a family seeking asylum in America. Their anger is quite convincing, and the family really does look scared. So I want your opinion on if you think this is a performance or really a family in distress. Larry Glow has a haunted home that keeps him on edge at all times. He records down the hallway because a ghost is down there. He's sure of it. I'm not sure what he is saying and need your help to fully understand. He hears a loud noise from behind as the ghost walks past and touches a light. The living room is where he experiences the most paranormal activity. So there's already a second camera all set up. Here is the same scary moment from a different angle. As you can see, he hears a bang, turns around, and that's when this stuffed animal gets possessed. Is someone pulling strings off camera, or are these objects moving on their own? What are you afraid of? What can really make you scream? This entry was submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The user explains that the clip was found on TikTok. Footage shows a guy sleeping at 1:16 in the morning with the text, "He snores so loud." According to the video, the next night is shown subsequently. This time, the man is sleeping in a very awkward position, with his arms up in the air. Even stranger, the drawer from the bedside table appears to open of its own accord. A short time later, the man is in a new position, and as he turns over, if you focus on the nightstand, a bottle slides strangely sideways, falling on the floor. The man appears to be suffering from some evil spirit being exorcised, as his body contorts aggressively on the bed.
I don't know, this guy's just being asshole. You want to shut... Stop. Hey, what the f...
Whoever is taking the video leaves the room, and when he returns, the sleeping man is kneeling in the corner. What's going on here? It is suggested could just be night terrors. Others lean more towards the paranormal, however. They suggest the man is possessed. What do you think? Paranormal activity? Possession? It is certainly baffling, and I think we need more footage to fully solve this mystery. A mysterious creature sighting was caught on camera at the edge of the woods in Forest Lake, Minnesota by a woman named Stephanie Gibbons. Based on her description of it, this thing, which she says was a creature known only as the Dog Man, is undoubtedly one of the scariest things in the woods she's ever encountered before. Stephanie says the Dogman sighting occurred around 7:30 p.m. She describes the Dogman creature as having long arms and a scruffy mane. It's too small to be a bear, and Stephanie says cougars don't live back here, so it's not that. According to her, the demon creature hardly notices them, too busy watching deer across the field. She never shows the deer, so that part of her story can't be verified. The Dogman stays still until 12 seconds when her daughter makes a noise. Stephanie says this is the moment when the Dogman looks over.
It's ear flick. Oh my god! It just looks and perked its ears up. What the f?
They accidentally zoom out so I don't see it move. Other people have said they can see it sniff the air and lick its nose, and I wanted to know if you can see any of those things happening here, because to be honest, I don't. She also posted a photograph to prove that this is a humanoid creature of some sort. It looks like it could be a person crouching down wearing a wolf mask at first, until you take a closer look. On top of its head are two horns and what looks like leathery wings wrapped around a bat-like body. Stephanie says the Dogman sighting is one of the many reported in the area, but this is the only one that she herself has seen. Tell me if you believe her. This one's a little difficult to see, but when you do, the payoff is worth it. is creepy. And they don't trust it. Do you? I certainly don't. The Rolling Hills Asylum in East Bethany, New York is weird. Really weird. So weird that it's classified as a paranormal research center now for ghost hunters. Liam Neville is exploring the haunted asylum when something strange and maybe paranormal catches his attention. This is what he's caught on camera and what's been haunting his memories ever since.
There's definitely somebody down here. There's a light coming from that. There's a light down there. Whoa. Yo.
Played in slow motion, and you'll see that his flashlight is off when they see the mysterious light in the hall. Liam and his friend are simultaneously frozen in place with fear and ecstatic.
I saw a figure at the end of the hall.
So did I. Oh
wow.
My.
I definitely saw that.
Yo, you saw that?
Yeah.
They claim to see a shadow figure in the hallway, and I think I might see it 59 seconds into the video. What do you think?
Yo.
YouTuber John the Paranormal Guy ranked the top 5 most haunted locations he's investigated in 2021. Among them was the Springville Plantation House in Alabama. Here's what they encountered there. Listen closely.
Was that you? No.
Was that you?
Hey, can you come down here?
The unexplained scream sent chills down my spine. Listen again.
With us?
What was that? I can definitely hear a scream in the background, but it's not clear where it's coming from. Is it human or paranormal? I think we'd have to dig deeper to find out. Something is buried in the debris of this house. Published by Proving Demons in December of 2021, these paranormal explorers couldn't last the whole night in this very haunted house. Immediately upon entering, they see that this house houses some strange stuff. They soon start to hear creepy noises as well.
I know, so just sit close to me. Shh. What was that about?
They also think they hear walking upstairs.
Yo, is there somebody in here?
As they're looking up the stairs, they start to hear a woman's voice humming. They don't encounter whatever is making the noise, but later as they're about to use a paranormal device, they hear another strange sound. A second sound follows as they're trying to make their way through all the garbage to leave.
Just come with me.
They manage to get out of the place, and maybe just in time. Passengers are boarding this airplane in Thailand, but how is this possible when the entrance is disconnected from the airport? Are these people or spirits? You decide. As a counterpoint, someone pointed out that there could have been a second entrance here on the other side. The people could be traveling in an L-shaped tunnel, but since we can't confirm it from this angle, both explanations are plausible. A person with an interest in graveyards is casually filming when they accidentally pick up a bizarre and possibly dangerous watcher. You can see a blurry shadow as it takes a few steps out from the other side of a wall, but the person recording doesn't seem to notice. It wasn't until much later that they reviewed the video and found the hidden lurker in the distance. I personally think that this could be CGI because the resolution of the video seems to have been lowered, which is always a sign of amateur effects. Then again, the person recording may have been using a cheap camera, or maybe this is an older video. Something has crawled up this poor woman's leg and refuses to come out. Her friend almost has it by the tail, but then at the last second it does the unthinkable and burrows even deeper. The scared animal probably would have gone up way higher if she didn't stand up in time and let gravity force it back down. She is either trying not to scream or lose her lunch as her friend tries again, this time wrapping its tail around his index finger. He manages to extract a giant rat and quickly puts it back in its container. The rat looks used to being handled, and this is probably the only thing that kept it from trying to bite and scratch its way out. What would you do if you kept finding food disappearing from your fridge at night? That's what kept happening to old fogey John, and when he set up a security camera, he was shocked at what he found. Trending in the Brazilian YouTube community via the YouTube channel EXTV, this video's original source is old fogey John on both YouTube and TikTok. Let's take a look at the footage. This home invader does not look human, and even the cat to the right recognizes that. First, the creature pokes its head through the window and appears as though it might attempt to climb in. Then it slinks back out for unknown reasons. Did this creature know it was on camera? Its red, bulging veins, dark, otherworldly skin, and glowing eyes makes me think it's not of this world. But is it a demon? I can't answer definitively, as I assumed their only appetite was for human souls. Isaac Brumac him feels a bite on his line and pulls up something large. Activity has moved on to his daughter. Let's try to make sense of this scary CCTV footage. Something rolls the ball at her. She rolls the ball back and it stops abruptly like somebody caught it. Please tell me it is a remote control ball, because otherwise it looks like their child has attracted a paranormal pal. Or maybe, as unlikely as it sounds, she is manipulating the object somehow. I don't know what this is, but it's really bizarre and I can't stop thinking about it. A YouTuber named Hunting the Dead dares to play with a Ouija board inside of his own home. Aside from using the board itself, he also has a ghost hunting device which scans different frequencies for any signs of the paranormal. He begins asking questions out loud, and it isn't long before he gets a fairly clear response.
Is there evil in this home?
The spirit then begins highlighting the same number 3 times in a row.
6. Holy shit, 6. 6.
Hunting the Dead soon finds out exactly who the spirit is and what it wants.
Zozo, do you want to attack me? Whoa, whoa, whoa. It's on yes, it went off.
Shortly afterwards, Hunting the Dead begins to feel gravely ill and needs to go to the hospital. This video was recently taken in Malaysia on a cell phone. Whereas UFO footage is blurry and far away, there's no mistaking what this object is supposed to be in this video. The UFO passes over a house and then takes off in the distance. A short while later, this other footage was taken. The UFO turns sideways and appears to be observing them through a bright white light in the center. It regards them for a moment longer and then the video ends. Overall, it's hard to say if this is a fake video or genuine UFO activity. Most of the comments in the video tend to favor that this really happened. Think you know the volatility of a poltergeist? Think again. Published by C's Crazy Crossroads, the YouTuber writes, "A rock comes off of the piano towards me. Absolutely insane capture. It is at the 247 mark. Apparently, this YouTuber hadn't caught the absolutely creepy capture until his viewers pointed it out to him after watching his original video, which is certainly surprising, as the paranormal behavior is quite obvious and alarming. As he walks through an abandoned church at night, a rock clearly comes flying at him from a nearby piano. You can see the rock actually fling towards him and ricochet off something behind him. Who or what threw this rock at Crazy Crossroads? I'd wager it was something or someone straight out of a nightmare." Caitlin McIntyre is making a video of her grandpa that she wants to remember for the rest of her life, which actually might be shorter than she thinks. It may seem like nothing bad could ever happen to them on such a perfectly sunny day, but to their immediate right is a sharp drop straight off a cliff. They hit a point where the curved road grows very narrow, just as the sun beats down on their car at the worst possible angle, turning the entire windshield into nothing but a blinding white glare. Grandpa does his best to stay on the road, but the sun is so intense that not even his oversized sunglasses can get the glare out of his eyes. They find some brief cover under the trees, and they can see that the road is too narrow to safely turn around. You can tell he doesn't want to keep going, but it's too late now and there is no other choice. He has to go back into the blinding sunlight and keep pushing forward just a little bit more until he can make this turn.
Maybe there's something up ahead.
He only has a short distance to go before he can turn around, but he almost manages to drive completely off the cliff instead.
I'm starting to get a little worried.
I can't even see. Where am I?
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Just to give you a better idea at how close they were to falling off, this is a brief glimpse of the side of the cliff. You can see he was still turning right and had to majorly correct the steering wheel to avoid tumbling below. Eventually, Caitlin gets out of the car and guides her grandfather to safety. You can still see that the sun is still totally in his eyes, and it's a small miracle they made it out of there alive. Dennis from Dark Ghost Paranormal is exploring this scary house with ghosts, and he's in for a real boo. While searching what looks like a storage area of the home, he falls to the ground. In fact, it looks like he breaks clean through the ground, and he does. The disturbance is captured from another room. A mysterious anomaly is seen in that same storage room. And that anomaly may be getting aggressive with him. But nothing is there, or so it seems. Just as he's decided to leave, he's confronted by the ghost again. One actually might think it's an earthquake, if not for the terrifying knowledge that this place is haunted. Later, he hears a whole lot of ruckus again and goes to investigate when, behind him, there's a growl. What sort of beast is in here with Dennis? I don't think that's a ghost. Sounds more like a demon to me. An older brother is trying to show his younger sibling that Bloody Mary is not real. Now the two of them are alone in the bathroom to test this theory out. They say her name 3 times in the dark, and when they turn the lights back on, they mistakenly think they are safe.
See, it's all over. See, that's gonna happen.
A YouTuber named The Real JP is renovating an old cellar when he notices something weird on the wall. A big bat flies straight at my face, he later writes. This large pipe is the only thing that keeps the bat from getting on him when it leaps from the wall.
I do not know where he went.
Hopefully it went out the cellar door. Don't you hate it when you're alone in your haunted house and the ghost girl comes out to play? Published in March of 2018, YouTuber Gencor shares this video of what he claims is the Ortega ghost girl. The man taking the video greets viewers, showing them around his living room. He then gives us a tour of his home. At one point, a stand-up fan in one of the rooms falls over, apparently of its own accord. You'll find out later that this is the haunted room. He leaves, lights an incense stick, and after a while returns to the scene of the incident. A toy moves out from under the bed as the man speaks to the spirit, saying they told him she wanted to talk to him and that he's going to close the door. You hear a sing-song voice, that of a little girl.
Dios santo. Dios dijo hola.
When he shuts the door again, a loud banging is repeatedly heard.
No miedo, la verdad, tratando lo suficiente.
He opens it to find a basket in front of the door, not where it was last seen. Needless to say, he hightails it out of there. If you have no idea what's going on here, Aries Bautista has you covered in the comments. She writes, the girl played 3 times hard. He should not have opened. It is assumed that by touching 3 times, he opened a portal that the demons used to enter. Well then I guess he should have kept that portal closed. A son who is too young to tell time keeps coming into his parents' room at 3 a.m. to tell them that something is in the room with him. They think it's weird, so they set up cameras all around the house, and sure enough, at 3 a.m. they catch these broad, scary faces that lean in and look directly at the camera. I'm really hoping that this is a mask, but without a closer video, we will never know for sure. These bizarre chittering noises, recorded in the middle of the woods at almost 3 a.m. were loud enough to rattle the glass of the window in its pain. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because the uploader is certain that this is a skinwalker. I personally have no idea what a skinwalker even sounds like, but if this person lives in the woods and has never heard anything like this before, then I have no reason to doubt them. Jay Duncan is at home with his wife and daughter. When he looks out his door and sees a total stranger in rough shape, the man is having a fast-paced conversation with no one but himself, and he can't hold still for a single second.
He's just out there, man. He just won't go away.
When he finally notices Jay a full minute later, his first move is to immediately try the door. I can only imagine what this intruder would have done next had he gotten inside. Instead, he throws his hands up in exasperation, as if they have no right to keep their front door locked. He barks a series of threats and demands to be let in. I think he basically says he's through playing games with them, whatever that means.
go!
They snicker at him through the door until he gives up and gets into a relatively upscale truck to leave. Obviously, if he has a truck, then he also has a warm place to stay, which makes me wonder why he wanted to get into Jay Duncan's home to begin with. I think that maybe this person might have been out of their minds and thought they were outside of their own home. If so, I really hope they don't come back when Jay Duncan is asleep at night and try the same again. Enrique Ortiz published this video in February of 2015, writing, I filmed this a few years ago when I was walking across Central Park one evening just west of the Bethesda Fountain on the 72nd Street Crossway. I heard really loud screeching coming from the sewer and I decided to film it with my phone. In the background, you can hear joggers running past Ortiz, and although he doesn't know what the sound could be, he notes that it was quite vicious and loud. The high-pitched screeching coming from the grate sounds a bit like a pig squealing. It certainly doesn't sound like alligators, as suggested in the video title. The screeching is prolonged and agonizing, leading many in the comments section to agree that it's definitely a sewer fight of some kind. Some thought it might be a fox, raccoon, or possum. My guess would be a rat duel. What do you think? A haunted home in Italy that has been the subject of many failed exorcisms has some incredible paranormal activity caught on tape that almost has to be trick photography. Tell me how this was done before I wake up screaming tonight. It almost looks too well done to be computer editing. You are probably asking yourself what could possibly be scary about ice. Well, it's not so much about ice itself, but rather what's growing around the area that forms the cubes and pushes them out. A thick layer of yellow filth has taken over this restaurant ice machine, which is somehow still in service and making ice for customers. I'm not even sure what this specific part of the machine is used for, but I know I regret watching it. The yellow substance has crusted into black mold along the corners. Again, I honestly can't believe this video was recorded in a restaurant that was still open, and that's just what this ice machine looks like on the outside. What's growing inside is even worse. Take a look at this and tell me if you would want this floating anywhere near your cold drink. You'd think the cubes would be absolutely disgusting and easy to spot, but look at this ice. You'd never realize there was much of a problem or where it really came from. When you visit an abandoned hospital, you don't expect this to happen. Redditor Bored Guy Online posted this scary video evidence that he captured in the ICU. Keep an eye at the end of the hall to the right. Something mysterious is going on here. Being that all hospitals are likely haunted, maybe these doors aren't malfunctioning after all. If that's the case though, who is opening and closing this ICU door? He can see us, but we can't see him. I think it's time to leave this abandoned hospital and stay far away. You wouldn't want anything following you home now. Shadows can be tricky things. Sometimes they're natural, other times they lean more towards the paranormal. This one seems to be the the latter. Posted on Reddit by user Ukire, the Redditor writes that he still has goosebumps after receiving this clip. Some in the comments admitted to being upset with yet another orb post, but then, after watching it all the way through, their yearning for nightmare fuel was rewarded. Although it just looks like the still image of a cell, wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it some more, and you just might be rewarded too. The Redditor wrote that his friend works the night shift here at this institution in a former police station. The room where this is filmed is not in current use, but in the past was a place where people checked out of custody. Some in the comments say the video looks legit. Others pointed out a creepy long face that makes a split-second appearance. Most in the thread comes to a consensus that this happenstance is very creepy and goosebump-inducing. Could it be a haunting or something worse? Whatever it might be, it's certainly mysterious. Rankin Fishing is at it again at the Indian River Inlet in North Beach, this time hoping to hook himself some bluefish. Never was he expecting this. He gets a hit on the line and is a little nervous to find, in his words,
the freaking worst thing to catch.
The arrangement of dark brown and black spots on its back immediately tells him this is a clear-nosed skate. Skates are similar to stingrays, except for a few differences I won't get too deep into. All that matters is they will defend themselves, however they can live another day. This one looks to be full grown, so he has to be extra careful. It's not the tail he needs to watch out for, but rather the mouth. The clear-nosed skate has between 46 and 54 teeth on the top row, and around the same number on the bottom. 108 teeth total, small and blunt, packed closely together for dense crushing power like a vice. Its jaws can crack open hard-shelled prey like clams and crabs with no problem. Your hand is no match. At 2 minutes and 56 seconds, the skate's bottom lip becomes lurched out and is perfectly aligned with the soft webbing between his index and thumb. The end result is something terrifying. There's a lot of red and yelling afterwards, and the only thing left to do after unhooking the creature is dip his hand into the salt water. Let's just say he's lucky the skate got this part of his hand as opposed to a finger, which would have come right off. He wonders out loud if something's going to happen to him later.
I'm sorry, that hurts so much. I hope they don't have any like toxin.
I did some research and found that skates, unlike stingrays, do not have any toxins, so he doesn't have that to worry about, but he should still probably go to the hospital because it might have some nasty bacteria around its mouth that he wants nothing to do with. He later describes this encounter as the worst physical sensation any deep-sea creature has ever inflicted on him in all his years. He has my sympathies, and I hope, for the sake of his hand, that nothing else from the ocean is ever able to do worse.
This is not like your regular staircase. It's just not like where you can look directly all the way to the first floor.
A man knows his apartment building has a ghost in the stairwell.
It's a creepy place.
He nods politely at someone going downstairs. Time passes and then he notices something strange.
I haven't heard him exit though. That's the weird thing.
He saw someone enter, he heard them go down the steps, and yet they never leave. More weird sounds is the only response he gets. He seems like a different person in a video update 6 months later, much more cautious, like a lot has happened to him in the time since.
Creepy things have been happening here, and I know this place is definitely haunted.
This is where things get weird in a creepy way. The door he just came through is now open, and downstairs is a dark space that suddenly clears up.
What is that? I gotta look at that. That was a shadow figure.
When he goes to where the alleged shadow figure was, nothing's there. Here it is one more time, zoomed in at 22 seconds. I might see a small figure, but help me decide if it's paranormal or just my imagination. A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed, just at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. YouTuber Nick Soderegger, also known as Sunspec, ran his channel for years, with it gaining some attention in 2014 for his dance videos. Sadly, in September 2018, he disappeared after hearing a woman screaming at 2:30 in the morning outside his residence. If that wasn't strange enough, since that day, he has never been seen again, and the mystery surrounding what happens remains unsolved. His family has set up a website which will be linked in the description, with a $10,000 reward for information leading to his whereabouts. This unnerving doorbell cam footage was taken somewhere in New Mexico. A random person walks up to a house in the middle of the night and just basically goes crazy without warning. They appear to have lost all sense of reason as they first yank on the doorbell cam and then start to scale the wall. It's unclear if they are really trying to gain access to the house itself, or if they are just out of their minds and doing whatever spontaneously comes next. After a while, they come back into view and kind of wobble around. This next part sounds like they might have even fallen over, but I'm not exactly sure. Overall, the strange man seems more confused than necessarily looking to cause havoc, but I would still not want to encounter this potential maniac either way. Have you ever been afraid of your own shadow? What if you know the animated shadow you're seeing is not yours at all? YouTuber Average American 2019 caught this shadow person on video in August of 2018. As he's descending the stairs of this building, a distinctive shadow is seen on the wall, passing in the opposite direction. Then as they descend a further stairwell, a second shadow person appears again. The man recording the footage notices the shadow person in real time. Luckily, he is with friends, so he can simply laugh off the incident. I'm guessing he'd feel differently if he was alone in this encounter. In paranormal lore, shadow people are considered by many to be masses of living humanoid figures. Paranormalists believe they are the presence of a spirit or other entity, while some think shadow people are creatures of evil intent. Others consider them neutral or even helpful extra-dimensional beings. Whatever you think they are, this video will surely make you afraid of the dark. A YouTuber named Barbecue Thunder 7 watches in awe as huge hunks of hail fall from the sky, landing with the force of solid rock. When it finally starts to calm down, he summons his courage and steps outside for a closer look. Hail is still falling periodically at this point and could get him at any moment. Some of them landed with such impact that now they are buried deep into the ground, and if you have any doubt as to how much danger he was in, these are the holes in his roof from the bad weather. If it can do this to a roof, imagine what it could do to his head. This terrifying footage was filmed in an elevator in Chile. Jose Acevedo gets on the lift and presses the button. Little does he know that this will be the ride that changes his life forever. As soon as the button is pressed, the doors violently snap shut and the elevator lurches upwards. Jose knows that something is majorly wrong and immediately presses the emergency stop button. Instead of stopping, however, the elevator climbs even faster. There's literally nothing for the man to do except repeatedly push the button, while panicking as the elevator races up 31 floors in less than 15 seconds. Finally, he begins to swat at every button, adrenaline taking over as he desperately hopes that just one button will work and bring an end to this terrible ride. He is absolutely helpless and appears to be too scared to even scream. Unfortunately for him, the only thing stopping this elevator is the roof itself. The elevator slams into the top of the building at full speed, and inside, Jose's broken body slams against the crumpled walls. He survives somehow, but now he has severe head and leg injuries. Also, the damage to his spine means he is sadly unlikely to ever walk again. Okay, this video is bizarre and just plain really weird. A kid on YouTube named Nature the Bee is making a random video about his cat. Little did he know that he caught a mysterious figure on camera.
And that's the end of the first trailer. I hope you enjoyed.
Creeping around the house is a strange, ghostly apparition. It was not part of the skit he was doing at all, and really has no place being there. Plus, the way it looks from behind the corner is beyond creepy. You can see some more scary stuff when you zoom in, like a freaky frowning face that the uploader thinks could be a ghost, or a demon sighting caught on video. I think this video could be edited, but if not, then I'd say his house is definitely haunted by something paranormal. This video could be someone talking gibberish in their sleep, or it could be a possession, as uploader JRon2 seems to think. Listen to this part and tell me if you think she could be speaking an ancient language.
She thinks Antarctica entrance.
Oh yeah? What does that mean?
One person in the comments section for this video thinks she might be saying something like, on the other side of the gods in Old Latin, whatever that means. If a second person could verify that this was what she said, then maybe we would know if she was possessed or just mumbling. It looks like this person is trying to do some repairs on their car. Maybe something's wrong with the air conditioning. Then I realize it's not a repair, it's a removal. A large snake appears to have crawled inside of the car, and the only way to get rid of it is through a game of reptilian tug-of-war. They struggle for almost 2 minutes, and lucky for him, the snake is too exhausted to strike when he drops it at 1 minute 45 seconds. Most people look for loose change while others have to look for loose snakes. This is definitely something I wasn't expecting. It goes to show you never really know what's lurking in your car. This slow motion video captures a man peeling around a corner as fast as he can, and soon you see exactly what has him moving so fast. A gigantic cheetah literally bounces off the wall in pursuit. The video ends before we exactly get to see what happens next. Maybe this cheetah really did come in straight from the jungle, or maybe it was kept as a household pet until one day it simply snapped. Whatever the case may be, I doubt it ended well for the person running away. Then again, I have no idea why he would just happen to have a camera set up to catch this event perfectly, so maybe it was scripted after all. Let me know what you think is going on here, and also tell me if you have any more background information that can help us put this video in better context. A YouTuber named Airh Jane is live streaming a road trip when suddenly an unidentified creature bursts through the traffic, nearly causing a wreck.
Here we are. San Diego Freeway coming up. Boom. We are there.
Awesome.
Whoa. Dude. Shit. What the hell was that? He wasn't on a motorcycle.
The speeding object leaves a short trail of fire behind, almost like it has a turbocharger of some sort, yet it's going way too fast to be an ordinary vehicle. My guess is this is computer-generated special effects, but if that is the case, then I don't know how he got the cars to slow down all at once to make this shot look so realistic. Maybe there was traffic ahead or something and he edited this creature in later. Either way, Ariane Jane swears that this video is 100% real, and I'd like to know if you agree with him or not. While exploring the abandoned Davutlu village, the YouTube crew from Han Kardisler find they're not alone. One woman comes out of the woodwork.
Ay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum biri var yanında.
Gel tanıdım seni gel.
The woman leads them to this strange dark figure hiding behind a corner, but the figure disappears as they approach.
Gelin.
Sen ne yapıyorsun burada ya?
Ne yapacağım ben her yerde geziyorum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oğlum. Ne oluyor ya? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Gel.
It then reappears in the downstairs window. The mysterious figure appears only as a form, a shadow if you will. While the crazy woman tells the crew something, her silent husband stands by with his back to the camera. The figure has again vanished from sight.
Var.
Abi ne oluyor?
Bu benim sevgilim gel buraya.
Şaka mı bu?
Bak yakaladım.
Baksana adama baksana kanka. Çok tuhaf çok. Oğlum bu la ilahe yemiş ya.
Gel buraya.
Oh gidiyor.
And then the woman appears to go nuts, shooing them off and even throwing stuff at them.
Artık gidin yeter. Hadi.
Abi oy bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Hadi gidin artık.
Ay.
Yeter peşimden gidin. Gelmeyin artık.
Oh bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh adam dışarı çıktı.
Artık yeter.
After being chased around, they later see the figure in the window again.
Bayram. Orada duruyoruz. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bayram bu ne böyle ya? Kafayı yiyeceğim. Abi.
But it's not any clearer what the figure is. I have no clue what this entity may be, but it seems to me that this old woman might be protecting it from outsiders. I'm not so sure it needs her protection though. Is this a ghost or not? Is what the uploader of this potentially paranormal video wants to know. First, let's watch this intro.
Welcome to Inspector Gadget.
As soon as he introduces himself, an object moves by itself behind him, or maybe a ghost introduces itself in return, he suspects. I think the object fell forward on its own because it was top heavy. This video could explain a lot of other alleged ghost sightings on YouTube, where an object moves on its own, but I don't think this was faked on purpose, just a coincidence is all. What do you think? Real ghost or not really? YouTube team Amitav Paranormal Tech YT explore this abandoned place when they capture a spirit manifesting on camera. Upon entering, they hear a banging sound. This is followed by a door closing. More racket is heard as the REM pod goes off. As they stand in the darkness, the banging continues. Not long after, a spirit manifests on this infrared camera. The cameraman leaves the cell, and when he tries to re-enter, he finds he's no longer welcome. In fact, no one is welcome. When they do not leave, the spirit doesn't let up. It has one last scare for the crew, and this one sends them packing. I'll be honest, I'm not sure how they stuck around this long. This place is certainly haunted, and they're lucky to make it out alive. This video will have you questioning how safe your food is if you live with roommates. Basically, a woman in South Carolina was caught on hidden camera, opening up the fridge and spraying select items with window cleaner. At first, it looks like she might simply be cleaning a dirty spot on the shelf, but when she takes a container out that still has food in it, gives a few good sprays, and then puts it back, it becomes clear that she is tampering with food. Since there is a hidden camera in the first place, I'm guessing she has been doing this for a long time, or at least long enough to make her roommates suspicious. She even almost notices the camera at approximately 1 minute into the video, but seems to shrug off the sensation of being watched. When faced with the evidence, she was put in a first offenders program and faced no time. Do you think this is fair based on the video, or should she have gotten a harsher punishment? Are you willing to risk your life for a thrill? Before you put on your hiking shoes, watch this video of Huashan Mountain, published to YouTube in June of 2018. An unsubstantiated rumor is that the mountain takes 100 lives annually, and after watching this footage, it certainly seems plausible. Pedro writes, once you are going up the mountain, there is not much protection for you. One of the most difficult parts of the hike is the cliffside plank walk. You are quite literally walking the plank, hanging on to the side of a mountain peak for dear life. Pedro notes that it's one of the mountain's most popular attractions, and there's often a 3 or more hour queue to walk the plank, as you can see in the video. When Pedro arrives at the plank, he's one among many climbers hanging onto a rusty old chain as they take their precarious steps along the piece of broken wood. A 7,070-foot drop lies below. Pedro says some people take off their harness in order to capture better photos, hence the risk of the mountain. Climbing the mountain is enough of a risk, makes you wonder, is a photo really worth your life? Hungry for a midnight snack? This video will get you over your nighttime hunger. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Paranormal Nightmares explains, my husband got up to grab a bowl of cereal, and we had the security cam recording in our kitchen because earlier in the day a cupboard opened on its own. We decided to record overnight, but this happened and it scared him. In the video, the dude is nonchalantly making himself a bowl of cereal as mentioned, but when he goes to grab the milk from the fridge, the cereal box moves clear across the counter on its own. Surprised, the man brushes it off, but as he pours his milk, the box moves slightly, and when he returns to the fridge, it slides clear across the counter again, finally falling to the floor. Needless to say, this guy takes this as his cue to book it out of the kitchen. Many YouTubers advise this poor haunted couple to move, while others are more worried about whether or not the guy eventually got his cereal, because you know, priorities. A truck driver checks his mirror just in time to see a dusty road hazard swirling his way. Try and translate this part, because I would love to hear his initial reaction word for word.
Jaj, sátlokat tükörbe.
The mini tornado dances all around and blocks the only exit. Getting out and running is probably not a good option because it could randomly change direction and come barreling his way. Now all he can do is stay inside and hope it doesn't move forward another 10 feet and rip off his door, which it looks strong enough to do. If you doubt its power, this bent streetlight says otherwise. After less than a minute, the tornado of dust dissipates moments before, raging through somebody's front door. We like to think that we'd somehow remain in control of any emergency, but all of this was random. His survival was based far more on chances than choices. A ghost investigation video from Oregon, while admittedly grainy and out of focus, nonetheless captures two possibly paranormal instances that are worth analyzing. The first is a brief materialization of a shirt or tunic against the wall. From this floating clothing item, a phantom person emerges. Barely noticeable are the head, nose, and two eyes. Then again, this could be wavy details caused by motion blur, but motion blur does not explain the glowing white eyes that briefly flicker at 11 seconds into the video and quickly go away. I don't care how poor the camera quality is, whatever this is, in my opinion, it should not be there, and yet it is. Published in April 2017 by Steve Cody, this video allegedly shows a ghost haunting a swimming pool. In the description, Steve writes, "I noticed my camera picked up motion around my pool about a week ago. After midnight, I watched the whole video with my wife, and there's a ghost or something floating over the pool. He said it lingered there for several minutes. The video does in fact show a light floating over his dark swimming pool at night. It just hovers in the top right corner of the screen, bouncing back and forth a bit. So what is it? A luminous ghost? A ghost holding something luminous, whatever it is, don't go in the water." A YouTuber named The Modern Mombi is sipping her coffee while pumping gas while she notices someone watching her get into her car. She lets it slide until she sees him looking at her again.
But yeah, he keeps peeping us.
She is making a video probably in the hopes that it will make him too ashamed to continue, but he looks straight at her and seems to smirk. It's a weird and creepy expression that he has no excuse to keep making if they are strangers. Maybe he thinks he recognizes her, but if that were the case, staring at her instead of saying hello is rude and suspicious to say the least. Then again, maybe the camera is the only thing keeping him from being more intrusive. He eventually gets in the car and drives away. That's when she realizes she's in her work uniform and hopes he won't be staring at her sometime soon at her job. This tunnel in Blue Ash, Ohio is steeped in local lore, and none of it is good. Apparently, a cult once used this maze of sewer passages to hold all sorts of rituals and sacrifices. This makes a YouTuber named The Fam want to explore the area with his friends, though now I'm sure he wishes he hadn't. Everything starts out fine at first, but soon the Fam claims to feel more and more sick as he draws closer to the infamous altar room, which is where most of the sacrifices were supposedly made. Something makes him have a panic attack, and he claims to have felt ill for a long time after making this video. It's impossible to tell if he really is being affected by spirits, or if he simply contracts a sickness from being in the sewer, or if it's his nerves getting the better of him. I'll let you decide for yourself. Here's a clip of him at the beginning of the video.
Alright guys, I'm gonna keep on going. I gotta see if we can find this altar room. I'm not looking forward to finding it really.
Feeling normal. And here's his reaction after discovering the sacrificial altar room.
I'm having a panic attack. You're having I did a couple minutes ago.
Do you think he really is getting sick from being in the presence of pure evil? The Wild Boar Hotel is located in the middle of nowhere, and the YouTube team, the Ouija Brothers, are traveling there to investigate. Outside, one of their camera lights immediately starts acting up. When they break out the K2 inside, they quickly get a response.
If you can hear me, can you stop and walk away from the device in the middle of the room? Fuck me, it's maxing out. Is that a song?
This continues until they turn the device off. Later, they hear a light tap.
So you?
And then a not so light one.
We can call it finish if you want. Did you touch that bar then? I did not. There's something I did hear that though. I thought that was you.
They ask the spirit a question, and it seems to respond.
Do you like the sound of my voice? Oh. If so, can you knock?
Either this old abandoned hotel is extra creaky, or there's something walking the halls here. I wouldn't want to stick around to find out which it is. A strange and mysterious object is found in the woods by a YouTuber named Grant, and has his whole group of friends startled by what's inside. Wrapped in tape and caught in the bushes is a creepy red color, faded from being out here so long. They pull at the tape, and 3 minutes later, they're finally ready to reveal the revolting contents inside.
Hold on, open it up for a minute. I gotta record it.
Look it in there. What is that? What is it?
I don't know.
Gray floating chunks rise to the top of the gelatinous pile, an unknown mystery sludge that blows them back with a rotten stench on a windless to your Ring doorbell camera or any other doorbell cameras, then explain what this object floating by was. I'm not the only one who would like to know. Put on your bowling shoes. Published by Joe MC in June of 2021. A mysterious bright light is roaming the lanes of this bowling alley. The light is seen hovering distantly into a lane to the far left for a minute before shooting to the right. The twinkling light pauses for a moment in one lane before shooting left again. It hovers there and flies about a minute more before the clip ends. What is this strange light? Is it the soul of a bowling enthusiast? If it is, I hope he gets a strike. A YouTuber named Mr. Technical Difficult and his friends are hanging out by a river when they see an old abandoned cooler on the other side. They don't pay much attention to it at first, but after a while they grow curious as to what could possibly be inside. Finally, they can't take the suspense anymore and decide to retrieve the floating container. What they find inside is troubling.
Open the hatch.
They remove an excessive amount of masking tape and pop the lid only to see a black-eyed doll peering back at them. The creepy doll is dressed in red suspenders and its head is turned directly towards the camera. No one knows what to make of this unsettling discovery, and they all stand around for a bit laughing nervously. To this day, the group has absolutely no explanation as to how or why this doll was sealed and sent down the river, or more importantly, who is responsible for this strange message. Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? What secrets does this witch's cemetery hold? Dennis of YouTube channel Dark Ghost Paranormal is about to find out. He first comes across this disturbing shelter guarded by cow skulls.
А вот это интересно, что такое?
He hears something nearby. He says voices are heard here.
Вот. С этой штуки, вот с этой постройки, доносятся какие-то голоса.
He sees a face in the structure.
Камера вижу, а так смотрю, нету ничего. Будто бы чье-то лицо. Вот, два глаза.
To me, this does look like a face, but it seems to be pareidolia. But later, he hears this through a paranormal device. Then he finds this unnerving collection of butterflies.
Я просто, я не знаю, у меня дар речи пропал. Что самое странное, откуда здесь?
His paranormal device again relays this strange sound while in the body's presence.
О, блин, мне даже страшно двигаться. Я хочу отсюда убежать.
And again, this scary whistling noise is heard. The noise grows even more terrifying. I don't think Dennis should stay here any longer. The butterflies would have sent me over the edge, but that last sound is even more unnerving. Sometimes it's better to be blissfully ignorant. Published by Nurk7 to the Ghosts subreddit. The girls in this video heard a bump in the night, so they soon head down into the basement to investigate. When they arrive there, another thud clunks in the darkness, and as they nope right out of there, a whining sound groans as they run up the stairs. While some note that their reaction seems genuine, Noobvin again pops into this thread. The Redditor who offered a rational explanation to the Ring doorbell entry footage to drop some more practicality, saying the sound seems more like a hinge or some other artificial noise. While this whining sound might be explained away, what of the obvious thud? Is there a ghost dropping a bowling ball down here? If you've lost a loved one, you might sometimes feel that their spirit is still with you. And if you're anything like TikToker E to the R to the ICA, you might find video proof that this is actually true. Erica R 1971 posted this ghostly video to the site writing, "So my security picked this up tonight. My dad passed on November 26th, and I wonder if it's him." The footage shows a ghostly figure pass by, floating casually past the security camera. The figure is white and vapor-like, appearing across the scene from right to left. If Erica is right, and this is in fact her father's spirit, what is he trying to tell her? Does he just want to comfort her by making his presence known? It does not look like CGI to me, so I think this video is 100% real. In Erica's place, would you feel comforted by a ghost? A YouTuber wants to go exploring at an old abandoned school on the edge of the town in Searsboro, Iowa, a place rumored to be haunted and made even scarier by some nearby creepy woods. The school was shut down 2 times and nobody really knows why, or at least the local townsfolk don't want to say. The inside is trashed and has no power, and yet their equipment makes a low rumble from an electronic disturbance coming from this stairway. Notice how the sound goes away as soon as they turn away from the steps.
Do we even want to try and go with that? I mean, yeah. Or should we go this way?
Let's just explore that area.
Should we go across the catwalk or this way?
Something paranormal is definitely up there. A strange feeling keeps them all away. In the next room, this rope moves by itself and then a bucket quickly follows. A second rope gets pulled and it's hard to say if all of this is a ghost or one of them off camera. On their way out of the abandoned property, they find this creepy secret room. Why a school would have a hidden room is beyond me, and also beyond creepy. Keeping a student down there would definitely get your school shut down. They find another small room hidden away and decide to go in. Inside is a message that says something bad happened in this secret room. It's an old worn message written long ago, not by them but perhaps a former student. A creepy noise ends the exploration as fast as it began, and when they look back at the abandoned building, they see what could be a pale ghost in the window. Most of the passengers have on headsets and are watching a mid-flight movie, but one of them sees a reoccurring image and takes out their phone. This brief clip is the final instance of what they saw. Floating up from one of the seats is a formless mist that briefly swirls into the shape of a twisted face and disappears. All airlines are smoke-free nowadays, but I suppose that could be another possibility. There's nothing scarier than a ghost who's out of his mind. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit, Random Doge 47 explains, went to the Heartwood Insane Asylum in the UK and captured something. The mysterious video shows the creepy remains of the asylum, aged with decay. All of the windows are broken out, leaving gaping empty black holes, except for one window. Someone is standing in the top left window of the asylum, an asylum that's locked up tight.
Oh my somebody's head caught at the top of So it is? Oh my I need to go. I get that on video. I've just get that on video. I cannot.
The Redditor writes that the lower windows are too high to climb into, and the upper floors are collapsed. So what is this figure, and how did it manage to get in? And if the floor really is collapsed, is it just hovering there? Some in the comments think it's an owl, others think it's a person experiencing homelessness, but most agree that it's something from which to flee, with Key Razmataz 1572 writing, "Feet don't fail me now." Agreed. Time to hoof it out of there. Have you ever ridden your dirt bike through the forest and wondered what you might encounter amongst the trees? You were probably thinking animals, but the dirt bikers in this video met someone they hadn't anticipated. Published by YouTuber Brappers in January of 2015, the footage shows 2 dirt bikers stopping on the side of a dirt road in the forest. Suddenly, a white car rounds the corner at top speed and slides to a stop. A man gets out and, for some reason, one of the dirt bikers rushes over to confront him. They start a confrontation as the other dirt biker rides away up the hill. Then, for reasons unknown, he turns around again and rides back to the confrontation to join in. His biker friend is on the ground, and he is then attacked by the man, who they claim is the owner of this here forest. The video cuts out after that. The uploader wrote that the man didn't stop, but it's unclear what happened in the end. If there were injuries or if they just got away without any more trouble, we'll never know. A YouTube channel called Adventure with Hodge goes on an urban exploration of an abandoned factory, and it turns out to be one of the scariest places he has ever explored. Something feels wrong with the creepy location from the very start, and they begin to wonder if this place is really abandoned after all.
Eerie, not gonna lie.
The basement feels downright spooky with only one flashlight between them. The urban explorers are too scared to venture far, especially when they discover a creepy message spelling out their fate.
You're in his home. Wonderful. I don't like that at all.
We just decided to go back in the basement. We just heard something.
That was loud.
On the basement floor is another haunting discovery in the form of an abandoned jacket. Why would someone leave their jacket down here? Hodge wonders. I personally couldn't help but notice it's kid-sized, and this is certainly no place for a child. Someone scary must have taken them to this horrible location. Someone twisted and deranged. The two friends are beyond creeped out, but at the same time curious enough to go exploring past the creepy warning on the wall. Bad decision.
It's time to go. Time to go. Okay, we're gone. We're gone. I'm sorry.
Somewhere in the darkness, a heavy object falls over, and the loud, scary noise they capture on tape makes them cry out in surprise and run away while apologizing. This part deserves a closer analysis because it's scary stuff indeed. They are exploring the middle of the basement, nothing within arm's reach, when an unseen object either crashes or is thrown to the ground. Hodge is holding the camera, and you can see his friend's elbow right before the scary noise is caught on video, so he's standing too close. Whatever caused this unexplained event can't be them. Plus, listen to how he later describes this creepy encounter caught on tape.
Majority of the video, we were exploring the basement of this abandoned factory. We kept hearing noises, felt like something was following us, and lo and behold, something followed us and we were chased out the basement.
I see no signs that he's lying, no deceit in his eyes, only enthusiasm at the thought of having a scary and maybe even paranormal encounter caught on tape, so I believe this creepy video is as real as he says. This ghost doesn't want to be hunted. Published by Turkish channel HD Adam in November of 2021, the team is here to investigate the case of Jean Hoka. As they case the joint, they find dozens of nails strewn on the floor. Is there a meaning behind this? They're looking down another hallway and something hits at a curtain in the window. When the cameraman runs over to look out of it, you can see this window is on an upper floor and there's no one around. In another room, they find a glass, again with nails inside. The team wants to know what this means and asks viewers to share. Do you have any ideas? It might be the next step in solving this mystery. When you're playing peekaboo with the paranormal, it's never a game. Posted to the Ghost Video subreddit by Podcast Africa. The clip shows an urban explorer walking through an abandoned house. As he walks down the corridor, he glances in a room to his left. There's a big empty window to the room beyond, and in that window this peeks out, a shadow person or a real one. The dark shadow ducks down quickly and the explorer hurries over into the next room and finds it completely empty. So who or what is playing around here? Or are they even playing? If you're about to blame some nighttime mischief on your pet, Hold off for a hot minute and watch this. Posted to the r/ghosts subreddit, Bartonall writes that his cat has been knocking things over at night for the past few weeks and waking them up, which is unlike him because he's a quiet cat during the day. So they set up a surveillance camera to try and catch him in the act. This is what they found. The first segment shows something fluttering the leaves of this flower on the table, but we know it's not the cat because he passes by the couch to the left. Later, as the cat is sitting on the couch, a dish towel falls from the fridge. Then an object is heard moving in the kitchen, and a close-up reveals the thing jiggling on its own on the counter. At the same time, a strange shadow appears on the front of the counter, although it's not clear if it's the cat being alerted to the sound or something else. Soon after, another object falls loudly from the countertop. Thus, we cannot see too well, nor do we know where the cat is. Then, after a strange orb moves through the scene, something else moves on the counter and is pushed to fall to the floor, all while the cat is perched on the table far away, watching. Then another object falls loudly next to it, which scares even the cat. This one wakes the owner up, who calls his cat a pain, but after watching the video in the morning, we're sure he regrets that. Was this cat, as some Redditors suggest, just protecting her owner at night? This creepy image is making my skin crawl. The image, whose source is unknown, shows a terrifying featureless figure, dressed all in white, with nothing but a gaping mouth and empty eye sockets. The way it's creeping out of the darkness, crouched, its hands bent, all of it leaves me wondering if it's about to spring into action. The creature seems to be looking right at the cameraman, and is perhaps coming toward him, on the verge of defending its territory. In researching this nightmare, I wasn't able to find any context to this image. What do you think this thing is? And what's going on here? Is it simply pure uncut nightmare fuel? This is definitely something I'm going to see in my dreams. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.